Cheers! 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 Hello everyone and welcome to episode 14 of the Cheers to Comics podcast, where two of your friends are going to kick back a cold one and talk about their favorite comics of the week, including characters, creators, news, and anything else underneath our illustrated sun. If you like that, please grab a beverage and join me, one of your hosts, Justin Jones, and the invulnerable nerd himself, Brian Wayne, along with special guest, guy on the couch, Mason. How's it going, Mason?
It's going alright.
Brian, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Oh,
I found $100 today.
Yeah, you were telling me. I just randomly sent it to you.
Yeah. So hit up the Timeless Nerd for all your greatest fucking eBay nerdness, because I get tipped good, apparently. I got excellent customer service. Anyway, so today's been a good day. Fucking, I'm ready to talk about comic books. We've got our buddy Mason, who is also part of our D&D campaign, and also the composer of our intro and outro for the Cheers to Comics podcast.
He's the man we have to thank.
I'm not proud of that.
You should be, because it's do-do-do-do.
We did.
Just what I wanted. It was beautiful. We had a lot of fun, especially re-recording that after I erased the original file in the Legend of Episode 9-ish. So, anyways, we've got lots of stuff to talk about. Mason's going to be chiming in here and out, because he has opinions, too. And...
Two of them.
Yeah. Only two, though.
Only two.
He only gets two. Use them wisely, sir. Let's start out with some news.
What do you want to talk about?
There's a few things to talk about this week. Let's start out with Rob Liefeld, however you want to say. I say Liefeld. So he's back and becoming extremely irrelevant in the mutant world in Marvel. He's created a new character by the name of X-Face, which how he came up with that is beyond me.
I think it's the big X on his face.
Right
there. The big red one.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, he's smarter than I thought. Major X, not X-Face. Same thing. I should have moved up a little bit.
Still say he looks like Dredd.
He's Dredd X-Face. But anyways...
Ooh, Dredd X. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. So anyways, he's going to actually play a massive part in the resurrection of the mutant team. We'll get into more of... Honestly, you know what? I'm not going to tell you his backstory because we're going to talk about the lead up and when we get to issue 10 of Uncanny.
Right.
So I think we'll talk about this more after Uncanny X-Men when we get to talking about that. That'll make more sense, because I'll explain where he comes in and all that. Because I don't want to spoil anything this soon in the podcast, because I think it's... I don't know. Anyways. So yeah, fact is, Rob Liefeld is back in the Marvel Universe creating motherfuckers. So, yeah, I don't know. He's got no pouches, which is weird on account of he's got guns. So, I think he kind of went backwards on this one, but... Whatever.
Maybe the guns operate on some special type of ammo.
Who knows? They do got they look. I don't know if that's just weird lighting choices, but it could be a little electricity.
Well, I mean,
indicators.
I think it's definitely a pattern choice if you look at the artwork. It's on both guns, and it regardless of the lighting on the right gun there, it's definitely a very prominent pattern.
For sure. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So I think it might indicate some sort of maybe electrical charge type of thing. But look at this fucking I just realized the cannon he has on his back here too.
And it looks like he has an arc reactor in his chest.
Yeah, look at this guy. I'm actually very I'm not shitting on him at all. It's just you got when Liefeld comes up, you have to naturally shit on him. I think it's just nerd reflex.
Just I guess I don't have that reaction. I don't really know anything about the man.
Well.
I'm not familiar with him other than his cable looks like his blood strike.
Which looks like Superman Justice League gone gray. The fact is they ain't got no lips on the front of their face.
Beast kind of does. And Storm.
Beast has 0 lips.
No, they have bottom lips. No one has a top lip.
Yeah. Whatever. Like I said, I'm not going to shit on the guy. He's technically a legend on paper. But because paper, he draws. On to the next piece of news.
Please.
Thank you. Well, so There's a thing that we've all been enjoying lately, or at least I've been enjoying lately, with the crossover events that Hanna-Barbera has been doing with DC.
Sure, yeah.
That's no longer going to be a thing. Hanna-Barbera is bailing. It's the classic Hanna-Barbera bail of 19. Let this go down in history. But unfortunately, that also means that Scooby-Doo Apocalypse will be ending in April at issue number, 38 or something like that. I think we're at 36 or 33, so at 35 or 36 it's going to end. Happens every time I throw it on my list.
Right, we both finally picked it up. So disappointing.
Whatever. It's just a sign that it's not money that I need to be, or a title I need to be spending money on, I guess. It's a trade book. Whatever. But with that being said, I loved all the crossovers. Superman Top Cat was surprisingly one of my favorite books of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You had Green Lantern, Huckleberry Hound. There was just a whole shit ton of amazing crossovers.
Deathstroke and Yogi Bear.
Yeah, that one was really fun too.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and it's just as awesome as it sounds. So yeah, there was a bunch, but unfortunately that's coming to an end. Barbera doesn't like the direction that DC's twisting the characters, because the designs they're completely redesigning the characters.
Oh, definitely.
They're not all cartoony going in there. They look like Yogi Bear's a hulking bear and everything,
right.
And yeah. For whatever reason, Hanna-Barbera's over it. So
it's
bummer, dude. Yeah, totally a bummer. So yeah, I think it seems like April will be the last to that. I don't know where they're gonna take it as far as if anybody else is gonna pick it up. Or the Hanna-Barbera comic type of stories or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. But moving on to the next tidbit of news, the last tidbit of news. This is actually, it's a big one. George Perez is officially retired from comics at the age of 64.
Mostly for health concerns.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with George Perez, he is why we read Teen Titans now, from what I understand. I am ashamed to say that I have not read Wolfman and Perez's new Teen Titans stories.
Neither have I.
That's where we get Robin becoming Nightwing and all of that. It's a very quintessential DC run. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't gotten to it, but I have every intention to. As a matter of fact, my guys at Mile High Comics, they know I'm coming for the title. They have the title set aside for me. I'm just Space Case on Wednesdays, and I go in there for my pulls, and I'm not thinking about anything else, so I forget to pick it up, and excuse. So, yeah, but eventually I will get to it. It's a lot to read, too, and we have a lot of titles we read every week, so it's a chore, but from what I understand,
it's an enjoyable chore, but it's something we have to force ourselves to.
Yeah,
well, force is a hard word, about week to week.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, George Perez, he be done, yo. So to you, dude, he's had a huge career. He started in early '80s, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
cheers,
fucking A.
Enjoy retirement, George.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if he's still gonna do cons though. That'd be cool.
He said he has 6 coming up this week, and then he might do. There's another one he's definitely planned for in 2020.
Cool. Well, that's reassuring right there.
I think he's mostly done with cons.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be retiring from that. He is going to still be doing up to 5 commissions per con.
Hopefully we can get him in Denver Con then.
I did see that he mentioned Dragon Con and Fetish Con though, which have significant meaning to him. So
yeah,
you might still have your chance to brush shoulders with him.
Yeah, I won't be at Dragon or Fetish Con. But if he comes to Denver Con or Springs Con, then I'll be there.
Dragon Con's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Massive.
It's massive, yeah. Oh. You get Dragon Con's one of the places I've wanted to go for a long time, because you have the Mystery Science Theater team goes there often.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Both eras too, between the Joel and the Mike era.
Nice.
And it's not just comics or movies or Dungeons and Dragons. It's everything nerd. It's nerd heaven.
Yeah, and what was it? The Aqua Teen Hunger Force voice cast has shown up a few times at Dragon Con too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me a whole. Yeah, okay, cool. Fucking A. Right on. Well, maybe I will. Where do they hold that?
I think the main one is in Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, see, yeah, no, I won't be going to Georgia.
I could be wrong
think
on that.
I think they also have a San Diego Dragon Con.
I won't be going to San Diego either. So no, it'll be at either a Denver Con. I appreciate the input though for all the people that are close to those areas. We here in little old ripe Golden, Colorado, don't come here. No, I'm too far from that. I don't.
Maybe someday.
That
pipe dream.
Yeah.
It's the couple years of being able to go to every con you want to go to, and the way you do that is by being the guy at the con who's signing.
We travel as an amazing podcast. We could do that, but we got to get a few hundred a couple hundred episodes.
Hit us up on Twitter. Would you like to see a live show?
I'll do a live podcast. I'll do it right in your fucking bathroom
with a live podcast. That sounds awesome.
I'm all about it, man. Our fee is like $16,000. That's it. Oof. No, it's modest. Do you know who we are, Justin? You don't look at the numbers, do you, buddy?
I know who you are.
Oh.
I don't know who either of you are.
Having a bit of an existential crisis, though, for myself.
Ever since you started this, I don't recognize either of you.
Well, we've changed, buddy. The numbers, the fame, the girls, the money, the sponsorships.
Yeah, all that stuff we're not getting has changed us. Let's talk about some fucking comics.
Let's do that. Image Comics. It's a small week for indie titles, but
yeah,
let's talk about them. Middle West #3, Scotty Young, Jorge Carona, Jean-Francois Boileau, covered by Mike Huddleston. I'm getting a lot better at my names. You notice that?
I have. I have stayed terrible.
I practice them.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud of you. I like consistency. I want to be consistently bad at my names all the time.
Consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with consistent and inconsistent. So yes, Fox and Abel, we know them. They are on a quest to heal Abel's scars. He looks at it as like a curse.
His
affliction. They know that Magdalena is their target. So as they make their way and journey through the Middle West, as they call this
just traveling a short 40-some miles.
Yeah, they're doing it like it's they got on a train and everything too. So like they are traveling quick. It's not all by foot, but nevertheless, it's still a journey.
Right.
And we know it's a journey because we get a troll.
We do get a troll.
We get a fucking troll.
In a bridge.
And with a troll comes a troll toll.
Yeah.
And when you have no money, what do they usually do in exchange?
They want you to solve a riddle.
You get a riddle! And for the first time, all day that day, I felt smart because I knew the riddle before it finished. And I don't know if they purposely put in a super weak riddle. But
I would say it's fair.
I was like, you know what? I fucking know this one. I know this riddle. I suck at riddles.
Yeah?
So, yeah, I was proud of I had a proud moment. So this book did good things. Like, it was an ego booster. So fucking read Middle West 3 if you're down on yourself. You know, if you're feeling stupid.
I don't think one book is going to help my ego that much.
You never know, man. You never know.
Hey, it's a good platform to start.
For sure. So, yeah.
The one thing I like about this comic, though, is we get answers to, like...
Daddy
exactly,
issues.
About Father Abel.
He wakes up in the hospital, and he's like, where's my son? And they're like, it's too dangerous to go out there. Don't you know there's tornadoes? And
well, we knew that he was the tornado, but then he wakes up naked in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
His boy is gone.
But does he know he was the tornado?
I think
they don't know he was the tornado.
I think so. The way they drew him, like, I think that he knows exactly what happened.
Okay.
And you see all those markings on his body? They're similar.
Very similar. It's like the mark of the beast type of thing, but like with like rage fits. Because everything's tied to rage. Like the dad blew up and turned into a tornado out of rage.
Right. And when Abel gets mad, gets upset, you know.
When they bring up his dad, he rages out. So like... his dad rages out as his son. The son rages out at the dad. Like those are the trigger things. Like that's.
I don't know if it's so specific as that.
But that's clear. That's been a clear connection.
Definitely
though.
a more.
I don't know if that's the only connection. I mean, the only tie to it or trigger, if you would. But I will say that that's definitely.
I don't think his dad came up when they were talking to the wizard. I think it's just an emotional.
No,
thing.
it did.
Did it?
Oh yeah.
I'm all right. I stand corrected.
Yeah. I'm Amber. And for me to remember is good writing, so Scotty Young, kudos to you.
Oh, brilliant job.
He does a great fucking job.
Is this just a short run, or like? Do we know?
I think we're gonna get some ongoingness going here, man. I could see this going on for 20
I hope
or
so.
25
I really
issues.
like this.
I like to get 3 trades out of this, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 3 or 4 trades. I could see it going for 20.
Jorge, I mean, he does a fantastic job on this art. Like, it really brings character to the story.
Jorge Corona, but I gotta say, might be as so bold as to say that Jean-Francois Boileau may be my favorite color artist working right now. I don't know. It's close between him and Rachel Rosenberg. They're both like they have that vibrancy that I like, but at the same time they know how to tone it down. When
it's
in
not
the right
all
pages.
just these bright neon colors, but everything really pops out. It has a lot of depth.
But even on the paleness, like in the troll page, like he knows how to create subtlety, like you see there.
Oh no, definitely.
Fucking like the color art is amazing. But he solves
his
the
palette's
riddles.
definitely.
Palette's on point.
Palette's on point.
So anyways, back to the troll tale. He solves the riddle, but not in time.
Right.
So troll rage. They end up just Fox and Abel just end up running out, and then they make their way through Middle West and blah blah blah. And then he ends with him knocking on, or not necessarily knocking on Magdalena's door, but like arriving at the location of where she would be found.
Yeah, like carnival looking place.
Yeah, it's definitely super creepy. That's for sure. It's the Hearst family. Just the Hearst family. Like that's Addams Family bullshit right there. I don't mean bullshit in a bad way. But yeah, so they've arrived seemingly to their destination, and we're learning more about Daddy, and you can see it on the cover that Dad's gonna play a part. Like that cover is fucking awesome.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have dug every page of these comics so far.
Scotty Young is going to go down as a legendary artist. But if he keeps up this pace with his writing between Bully Wars, Deadpool, and Middle West, I Hate Fairyland, I think has ended. I might pick up again. I don't remember. I didn't read it, but I've never heard a bad thing about it. He's the dude's ultimate, and he's still fucking young, man.
He's a very well-rounded artist and writer. Yeah, definitely, I agree.
I have super respect for anybody that can write and draw.
I mean, from the first bit of art I saw of him, which it was when I was just kind of dipping back into comics, I picked up some X-Men. I got The Death of Wolverine, and I picked up a Cyclops. And I loved that, like, just super simple, kind of young, funny page kind of vibe to it. Just became an instant fan. And then anything else I've seen from him, just better and better. Oh, for sure. He's developed his own style. Oh, yeah. Trademark style, for sure. Like this, like, baby type of... it's simple in its appearance, but it's got a lot of depth to it, for sure. Oh, for sure. A lot of character. And, now his writing has shown depth, because, like, you read Deadpool and you're like, this guy can... Even in Deadpool, like, there's so many layers of Deadpool. Like, you think that Scotty Young writing would just be, like, that goofy blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Well, like, when we got that whole Kill Puddle... Kill Puddle was the funny comic relief for the majority of the book, but it was showing like a layer of Deadpool that we don't usually see. Like it was all depressed. Not we don't usually see, but like I wouldn't imagine Scotty Young writing, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like that, just darker, woe is me, Deadpool or whatever, and then at the end he brightens right back up. So he does. He's not a monotone writer, is what I'm trying to say. As much as he's not a monotone artist.
There's depth.
So much depth. Every story that I've dipped into that he's written, like, all completely different. Like, he's well versed.
For sure. That's good, because, you have a lot of characters that... you have a lot of writers who will make characters that are very two-dimensional. Very...
Even if it's not two-dimensional, they're just, like, they have that style of writing, and you're always going to get that kind of story.
Or that same voice for every character.
Yeah.
And he definitely knows the voice.
It's the same attitude for every character. It feels like they're being written. It doesn't feel like they are being their own characters and living.
Exactly. Good point.
For sure.
Let's move on.
On to goofy shit. More goofy shit. Spawn Kills Everyone 2, part 2 of 4. So this is Todd McFarlane's, like, jab at Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, but with Spawn.
I didn't know that came out this week. I missed that one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Is it just as silly as the first?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
So, baby Spawn, he's bumming out over the fact that he doesn't have any kills or he has barely any kills this year in 2019. He's got 7 kills. He said by this time last year he had like 23 kills or whatever. He had like over 300 kills last year, and so he's bumming out. Meanwhile, he's got all these like mini baby spawns that he pooped out due to the fast food
medicine and fast food. Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna get back at it. So he goes out to kill Aquaman, and yeah, it fails miserably. Like the little baby spawns like jump on a manta ray, and like the way he goes to kill Aquaman, he's gonna like unplug the sea.
Of course he is.
But instead, one of the little baby spawns like rides a manta ray on top of the plug, and he's just like facepalm, and he's like goes home depressed, and he like looks at the fucking board again, the kill board again. He's like still nothing. Meanwhile, the little baby spawns are like, you know what? Let's help a daddy out, I guess. So they like start eating each other and become a little bit bigger, but still a very infantile, even more infantile version of baby spawn.
Yeah, I like the sound of that mini baby spawn.
Yeah, it's mini baby spawn. So then at this point they're like, alright, we see his list, let's go knock some names off the list. And their first list is Captain America. So while old man Captain America's like snoozing at the table, they like go into his house and like change his suit into like Captain Canada, and like change the Statue of Liberty into like a moose. And he wakes, and like everything's got like syrup all over the place, and he wakes up and like sees like the Wayne Gretzky jersey. He's like, I can't believe I traded my country, and he has a heart attack and dies. Like, it's ridiculous.
I love that Captain America just snoozes in his costume at the old age.
He's an old man.
Like, just in his costume. Just like, good old times.
They kill the Hulk by replacing Banner's like stretchy pants with non-stretch pants, so when he hulks out in his non-stretch pants, he just explodes.
Of course.
They somehow managed to kill a xenomorph. Not buying this kill one bit, but they like allow themselves to be swallowed and then like pop out of the xenomorph's chest, but I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that one, McFarlane. You're gonna get
I mean
that acid's eating little baby
fire
spawn.
With fire.
You're the
fire
spawn.
With fire.
You know what? Is xenomorph acid eating spawn?
Okay. I would have to say that spawn is made out of ectoplasm. Ectoplasm can basically turn itself into any kind of material it wants, as far as my understanding in the Spawn universe. Ectoplasm, as long as he knows the material, he can turn it into it.
Okay, well, as it's written now, it's a symbiote. That's how McFarlane writes it now.
Spawn is a symbiote?
Those are the wordings that I've been hearing lately as of issue, like, I've been reading, like, 280... through like what are they at, like 292 now?
Interesting.
And it's
referred
to as a symbiote now.
I mean, it's been a while, but my understanding was, I mean, up until even I want to say somewhere around 180, he was ectoplasm like that. I may be wrong, but
okay.
I remember him being actually, once he went to hell, once his human body was eliminated. When he went to hell, his soul inhabited ectoplasm. That's why when he came back to Earth, he could actually change his face back into Al Simmons at certain points.
So the roundabout way of saying that is that he would have actually survived xenomorph blood?
The roundabout, I think he could have, given if he was able to make a material that could resist the acid.
Hold on here. This is Baby Spawn, a world where non-stretchy pants kill the Hulk.
This is true.
If non-stretchy pants can kill the Hulk, who has been blown up by atom bombs, then yeah, they can pop through the chest of a xenomorph.
Okay. You know what? I just became that fucking shitty nerd. You're right. I buy it. You know, I'm cool with that. I think deep down, being like a huge fucking Geiger fan.
Oh, sure. No, I get you.
I was like, no, you cannot kill a xenomorph. But I guess Spawn can do it.
You can totally kill xenomorphs. There's just repercussions for it normally.
Right. I mean, you couldn't kill a xenomorph in that way, but I guess if you're Spawn.
I mean, it's the same thing I always question with, like, when I played the AVP games. Why, when I shoot an alien, do they not bleed through the floor and disintegrate everything below them, like 80 feet into the freaking ground, with pools of acid molecular blood pouring out of them?
Yeah.
Alright, if Sigourney Weaver can kill a handful of aliens, I think Spawn can manage it.
Hold your fucking
And one of them with a freaking loader.
Sigourney Weaver, hold on. If Sigourney Weaver, as if the bar is low with Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver is the best comic female hero in all of media ever. And I'm going to say it. Fuck your Captain Marvel. Fuck your Wonder Woman. Ripley is the greatest female hero in all of fucking media, in my opinion, which is always fact.
Oh, Ripley was just badass, and she's the lone survivor.
Sure.
She did it in her underwear, dude! She didn't have no magic bing-bing bracelets.
She was in her underwear because she was about to go into stasis because she was like, I blew up the ship and I killed the xenomorph. Oh no, it's gotten onto my ship.
And it doesn't matter why she's in her underwear. She did it in her underwear.
No. Ripley's a cool character. Sigourney Weaver is a badass actress. But if she can kill an alien, I think Spawn can manage one.
Fair.
Okay. But when you... Just the way your tone went. Like, if Sigourney Weaver... Like, if the bar's low. Sigourney Weaver's set the fucking standard and is yet to be reached.
All right. I'm sorry. I did not mean to spit upon the pedestal that you worship.
It's yet to be reached by anyone else in the alien universe. Just because everyone else dies most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, she did too. But she did a lot of badass.
She lasted
badass
through
shit.
more fucking
events, at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You'd say containment breaches, basically.
Oh, yeah. She's the
technically Bishop, but that's different. That's not a single.
Well, no, because David would have lasted longer.
Oh man, we are so off subject.
Yeah, sorry.
So, in the news, they're like, holy shit, motherfuckers are dying. And we're back to the comic, by the way. This isn't, like, I didn't just Orson Welles your guys.
IRL.
Don't hide your wife, hide your kid. Like,
Aliens are attacking.
Everything's cool, guys. Unless it's not, because we haven't posted this yet. You never know. Fucking timing is everything in a perfect joke. So, anyways, wouldn't that be crazy? Fucking. Oh, man, premonitions. So, back to the end of the comic.
What?
So, Spawn Kills Everyone 2 is half done. We got 2 more issues. There's going to be a lot more motherfuckers to kill because he's going through about all universes. Like, he's going to be killing... Well, we've seen him kill DC people. We've seen him kill Marvel people. You know, he's going to be killing some more Image people. I don't remember.
He's killing everyone.
Everyone, too, as well.
How did McFarlane get the license to do that?
How did McFarlane get the license? Because he's McFarlane.
Well, I mean, I know but still, it's just like getting companies to cooperate and say, yeah, let me
parody
have...
laws.
Fair.
Because it's a complete parody.
Oh, okay, so it's almost like how DC did with Marvel, or was it like when... Marvel had a couple of their characters kill a Batman or something, and he would have 3 horns that were like lightning bolt shaped, but it was obviously supposed to be Batman.
Under parody laws, yes.
Yes,
exactly. With this, I mean, it's clearly like Aquaman, but in the standard that they're doing it, like they could do it. You know, and plus it's McFarlane. The dude has the money to be like, hey, DC, here's.
He's brushed shoulders with these companies multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, I will say one thing. He's not putting out any money because in the first issue, he even goes to say this comic is to like fund the Spawn movie coming up. Like, they mention Jamie Foxx by name and Jeremy Renner and everything. Like it's a very self-aware comic.
Oh yeah.
It's
very Deadpool-esque.
It's trying, and it's based off Deadpool Kills the Marvel. I mean, not based off of, but a parody of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
This is his answer to that.
For sure. So, remember the Hanna-Barbera shit we were talking about?
I remember.
Scooby-Doo Apocalypse and stuff.
Finally, I put Scooby-Doo Apocalypse on my pull list.
Me too.
And then we get this shitty fucking news. But I am going to go back and reread it all because I heard that this is a solid story all throughout.
Everything I read piqued my interest. There was not a bad page.
And the turning point for me, the thing that made me finally go, you got me, was in issue 32, I read that Shaggy impregnated Velma. And I don't think Shaggy knows yet based off of the interactions that go on throughout this.
We get no sign of it in this book.
No, but it definitely is known that Velma is pregnant by Shaggy now.
Really?
In this, we got Freddy as a zombie.
We do.
Like I said, I just jumped right the fuck in. So
yeah, neither of us have read another page of any of the other books.
Yeah, forgive the complete ignorance on the lead up to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy it. Like, let's give some credit here where credit's due. Who did this? Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
It's not sure.
Yeah, Mike Noises while I'm looking. J.M. DeMatteis, Pat O'Leaf, and Tom Palmer did the art along with hi-fi coloring it. And the cover was done by O'Leaf and Palmer as well. Which, I mean, makes sense because it looks exactly like the inside of the book.
It does. I mean, everything about this comic is good. We start off with a weird revelation that they are now with Fred.
Scooby now has his intelligence back, and if that means anything to you, because I guess at one point or another Scooby became really smart and then lost it, and then as of the last issue, now he's regained his intelligence, so he's going around...
That's not why he's talking like Ruh-roh.
No, he's talking like Dr. Manhattan would talk. I hear Dr. Manhattan's voice in my head whenever, for whatever reason, when I'm reading this. I don't know why.
See,
or, even better, I hear Rob Paulson's voice that does Snowball from fucking Rick and Morty. Like, give me my testicles, Summer. Like, that's what I hear.
Yeah, okay, that would be a little bit more accurate, yeah.
Where are my testicles? Did you know that was Rob Paulson?
Man, yeah, that gives a whole different voice to this comic now.
And Scrappy Doo's going about and all this, and he's all fucking...
cyborged out.
Yeah, hulked out, and... I don't know what the fuck's going on here, but I was still tied in, wrapped, drug in. I can't think of a word.
They just ran into one of Velma's brothers. I can't remember his name, something Dinkley. And he shot Fred.
Because he's a zombie.
His head came right off.
Right.
And they're like, oh my god, I can't believe he shot Fred. Like I told you earlier, gang, I'm undead, so I can't be killed. And Daphne's like, I don't believe it. You're not real. You're an abomination. Oh, Daphne. Like, it definitely has like that Scooby feel to it. But this isn't
you
an
can totally hear the
fucking story. Like, this is the end of the world apocalypse has happened.
It is.
Monsters are fucking real. These occult evil magics are about the world, and this is like the Walking Dead Scooby-Doo.
Well, this particular arc, but yeah.
The apocalypse, yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know if the whole apocalypse scenario is all zombie-based like this, per se.
Well, okay, maybe it doesn't have to be zombies. I mean, because, like, Scooby-Doo still. I mean, so there's monsters and vampires, ghosts and ghouls, waxmen.
It almost sounds like kind of like how the Adventure Time universe worked. Like, once nuclear bombs hit, that created magic in the world, and all of the monsters that we envisioned were able to happen.
I kind of get that tone from this, actually.
I haven't read the first 32 comics. I have no idea how they rationalize all this. I'm in board, though.
I know that there's tons of cameos throughout this series of, like, monstrous beings throughout history, from what I understand. Like, this... I've had way too many excuses to do this, but for whatever reason, I've not jumped on. And I think I've done everybody a favor, because I have this curse where as soon as if I put something off and then get it, it cancels 2 issues later. So for all of you who have been enjoying Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, you're welcome that I haven't been putting any money into it, because you guys have all got to enjoy it even longer now. But in the meantime, my bad for adding it this week.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something I want to pick up the trades on. I think that we should definitely talk in depth about this once it's finished.
Yeah, because I like this, like, Ice King, Silver Surfer, caped looking. The Native King is what it's coined as on this final page here.
Yeah, beautiful designs. Yeah. And this little short story
after
the comic.
Yeah, I didn't read the Adam.
Also, you didn't delete... Oh, I can't believe you didn't read this.
No, I didn't read the Adam.
It was delightful.
Was it?
Do yourself a favor, go back and read it. It is very entertaining.
Okay. Still, just very saddening, because I would like to think that, Joseph Barber and William Hanna would have actually approved of this kind of thing. Like, yeah.
Well, they have been for 2.5 years.
Yeah, well, no, they're dead. Both of them are dead.
Well, okay, well, yeah.
But the company has been.
Right. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I would like to think that, the original creators of the characters would have said, yeah, this is great.
And seriously, if you've read any of the tie-ins that we've talked about lately, and the stuff that I've read before we started doing the podcast,
they're not at all what I expected.
Dude, they're so fucking good. The character design is off the wall. I think my favorite one was a Catwoman one. I can't remember who.
I would have loved to have seen what someone could have done with like the Herculoids.
Yeah, that could have been cool for sure.
Well, I mean, if you remember when you did you ever watch the Herculoids?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
People died on a regular basis. Like they would just blow up an entire ship of invaders, and it's like, yeah, those guys are freaking dead. They're done.
Yeah. I mean, they never bring lights about that. But yeah, for sure.
Well, it's not like they show dead bodies or anything, but it's like that is obviously people died. That one guy goes into a tar pit and doesn't come back. He's dead.
Big yellow jagged boom sign. Yay! We all celebrate. It's a happy story.
And you said you weren't good at voices.
I don't know if is a voice.
What's that, Glee for glue?
Take your pick.
How are we looking on Beer's voice?
I think we should take a short break and freshen up.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's refill the glasses. You guys, fucking hang on. And we're back.
Cheers.
We are.
Cheers.
We forgot. Speaking of beers and everything, we're back with beers. This week's beer that we didn't mention is a Mountain Pilsner, Mama's Little Yellow Pills, as my daddy always used to say, by Oscar Blues Brewery.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and it is good stuff. So shout out, and these guys are out of what do we say, Longmont?
Longmont, Colorado. I think that their business is based out of Austin, Texas, but they brew it here in Longmont.
Okay, cool, right on. So semi-local.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different like little sayings on this. Pack it in, pack it out. Mama tried. Mountain Pilsner. That's probably on purpose, but I don't know. Cans infinitely recyclable. There's a lot of words on it. I don't know. I didn't mean to read that last one. I was just like cruising with like little sayings. I just figured the next thing I read would be witty and clever. They are infinitely recyclable.
Alcohol by volume.
4.7 actually. Which actually now in Colorado, as of the 1st, we could buy this in a gas station or...
Yeah, we've got full strength beer in our grocery stores finally.
We could do that now.
Heck yeah. Cheers, Colorado.
Alright, so anyways, back with comics, but we do drink during the podcast, so we gotta make sure we tell people what we're drinking. But
what a wonderful state when you can buy liquor on Sundays, too.
Gotta love it, man. Look at this poor guy. Superman number 7. Oh, fuck, I'm good at porn. Oh.
He's so good.
Brian Michael Bendis, Ivan Reis, Brandon Peterson, Jason Fabak, Eau Claire Albert, and Alex Sinclair. Covered by Ivan Reis, Joe Prado, and Alex Sinclair. So, did you read Superman?
I did not.
Okay, this is actually, this might be the most important book of the arc so far, because we're getting a lot of questions answered.
Mm-hmm.
As we know, early in the run, or you may or may not know, early in the run, Lois took off with little John Boy, Superboy.
Mm-hmm.
With Grandpa Superman. I can't remember his fucking name. Something L. What's Superman's dad's name? Something L. Jor-El? Is it
Jor-El? I think it's Jor-El.
Jor-El.
Yeah,
Bam! Got it.
Yeah, he's Jor-El and Superman's Kal-El.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there we go. I got it. So yeah, they go into space, go off for an undetermined amount of time. Lois comes back a lot sooner, and in this issue we get the story of Lois's time with Jor-El and Superboy,
mm-hmm.
why she came back beforehand, and the time that John Kent spent after with Jor-El after Lois left.
Oh, cool.
So a lot of questions answered here, and it picks up right where 6 left off, where Superman like looks up and he's like, "Oh, I wish I had my family around," and then sure as shit, there's a John that's aged 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So while being in space, he's aged 7 years.
We got a teenage Superboy now.
Yes, much more teenage. Very young adult. Almost drinking age. And he tells the story of whatever. But in the meantime, they go back And we get a little bit of Brian Michael Bendis humor here. Superman shows up with her son. Lois isn't expecting it, and she's like in the sheets all sexy, waiting to get Superman boned. And he shows up, and she's like, "Oh shit, son!" And so it's awkward. Yeah, so you get that whole thing. But in the meantime, so the story is as to why Lois came back early. It was she shows up in this, they're going about doing their thing in space. Jor-El's getting them accustomed to the way of life, and then Lois realizes that she's being treated as royalty, and then it's explained that it's because she's Superman's wife.
Sure.
So, and then she can't, it's like, she gets like Justin Bieber disease. She can't really take like the fame and all that. And the breaking point I wouldn't say breaking point, but like the enlightening moment when she realizes that she doesn't need to be there watching over her son. It's like the main complaint she's getting as royalty is everyone's complaining that, oh, such and such in slavery and blah blah blah. And so Superboy goes off and he like single-handedly like resolves this slavery dispute. Yeah. Like in a second. And Lois is like, I don't think I'm needed here. And Jor-El's like, well, I'll send you back. And they do. And then you realize, and you get this moment where they're going off and doing their thing, and then all of a sudden, Superboy reveals that, he like turns around and he's got the scar on his face, and he's like, what I really came to tell you is that Grandpa's fucking crazy. So he's not the good guy that he was coming off to be. Like, he did have bad motives, like we kind of all suspected.
Right.
So, yeah. So we're getting Bendis to write this cool Jor-El arc now, on top of the Rogol Zod fight that's going on in... I can't think of the name of the dimension that they're in right now. Forgive me, nerds. Anyways, the beer's working. So...
I don't remember.
Yeah, but, yeah, so it's just a lot of questions being answered. It's all very well written. It's not, it's easy to retain, that's for sure. But yeah, I highly suggest it. Ivan Reis's art's amazing. The colors are awesome by Alex Sinclair. The inkers do a great job, and Bendis is Bendis in his way of telling stories, so
heck
classic. Yeah, so Superman. Poopa Man.
I never really thought I would be a big Superman guy, but I'm really excited to catch up on this one.
Well, and I say it podcast after podcast every time the S word comes up. Like, I wasn't just not a Superman fan. Like, I disliked Superman.
I've always thought he was a really terribly written character.
Yeah, it was just super OP, and even when they try to, like, humanize him and weaken him, it just hasn't been done well, in my opinion. But Brian Michael Bendis is definitely humanized him in a way to where his weakness is Lois, and his relationship with his son and lack thereof. They both just missed 7 years of his life, and they're kind of freaking out about that.
Basically, anybody who wants to get to him now can use mafia style tactics on him.
Exactly.
That's kind of always been the case. It's always been like, you don't target Superman, you target the ones he loves.
Yeah.
You send a missile to where you want to attack, and then send one at the woman he loves.
And it's not known to everyone, that, Clark Kent is Superman and Lois is married and all. Like, it's still, like, you're reading Action Comics and all that stuff.
But if Grandpa's going crazy and Lois is being treated like royalty, that means he's got easy access to Lois anytime he wants, because he's basically royalty.
Well, Lois is back, and she's been with Lex Luthor.
Well, not necessarily been with, but has had, like...
She's been seen with him, and she hasn't contacted Clark.
Well, he showed up after he realized that Lex Luthor has made contact with Lois Lane before she got back, before Clark did.
Oh,
and he was like, what the fuck? And he shows up, and it's all explained. And Lois was like, well, the reason why I was going about is because you're doing such a good job at what you're doing right now, and I'm doing a good job at what I'm doing right now without us being involved. Kind of a dick move on my part, but at the same time, we're being our best person in the state that we're in right now. And the shit with Lex Luthor is nothing to be threatened by. And I don't remember what the terms of all that meeting was. But I believe her in the sense that it's nothing to be threatened by.
Typical Lois Lane. Very strong-willed, independent woman.
Right. Like, shutting down some shit, like, yeah.
Doing what she does best, reporting and getting in the action.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So I'm digging this whole, through 7 issues now. Like, there's been a lot of hype about issue 7, and I think it delivered. We don't. I wouldn't say I really know what Superboy's new powers are yet, but we see him in a new suit, and we get a lot of questions answered. And to me, I'm fine with that. Like it didn't deliver the hype that I thought it would, but it did on a different level. So
cool. I always love quick turns, a little bit of sleight of hand.
Yeah. Next up, we've got The Batman Who Laughs, number 2 of the 6-issue miniseries. Scott Snyder, Jacques, and David Baron. My bad, can't read my handwriting. Covered by Jacques, and so yes, in the last issue, Joker killed himself, or attempted to kill himself. It was revealed that he has this toxin embedded in him to where he dies, whoever is the closest, or usually whoever kills him
Batman's
would become the next
had
Joker.
The theory that whoever killed Joker would become infected with his Jokerness.
So Joker does something that Batman would never do, and he kills himself, therefore making Batman the next Joker. So he's having Alfred operate on the Joker, trying to save his life in the Batcave. Meanwhile, Batman is injecting himself with every version of anti-Joker toxin that he's ever created.
Right, because it's basically a more advanced version of the laughing gas toxin that he's made several times,
kind of,
right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So, we're getting that whole scenario, and then Batman pulls through, and he goes off, and he's looking for
the Batman who laughs.
The Batman Who Laughs. Well, I take that back. Let me back up a little bit. A lot of Bruce Wayne's, quote unquote, fake Bruces have been showing up dead.
Right.
And it's Batman theorizes that due to like the consistency of the puncture wounds and all of these, these are actually Bruce Wayne's from other universes that he's bringing into this Earth, and he's getting bits and pieces from all these guys to develop this super serum that in turn just like turns the greatest fears and blah blah blah, and like he's got this whole master plan that Bruce theorizes is going on. It's not confirmed yet, but this is Bruce's theory.
Right, the greatest detective thinking.
Right. And I mean there's so many talking points in this book. He like Bruce Wayne shows up in disguise as fucking Harvey, or what's his name? Harvey Bullock. Harvey Bullock. So like during the whole like Bruce Wayne death crime scene, like it's Bruce there talking, like going about as Harvey Bullock, like giving orders and everything as if he's a whatever. Gordon obviously knows what's going on, but because Gordon knows the identity now. So yeah, at least to my understanding. So yeah, it's there's a lot fucking going on here, and then you get this fight with eventually gets the Batman Who Laughs, but then the Grim Knight shows up, and the Grim Knight showed up in the Metal series again. And the Grim Knight is the version of Batman if little Bruce picked up the gun and shot the guy that killed his parents. So he becomes Grim Knight is like he's like Punisher Batman in a sense. He's not afraid to use guns, but that's like the last thing he uses because he's so tapped in with technology to where like he can kill you by like taking over your car via the computer system through Gotham his Wayne technology or whatever. Like he's that kind of killer usually. Like he doesn't know it. You usually resort to the guns, but at the same time, he has no problem just fucking capping you like Punisher style. So he shows up and he injects this. He shoots. I think they just call it like a bat bullet or something like that. What are they? Bat taser bullet. And the more he moves, the more it electrocutes him. So then you see like Batman, like really agonizingly trying to stop whatever is going on here. I forget what's going on, but it's a lot of good shit, and it's gruesome, it's violent. The Grim Knight is going to take off. So if you have, this is the second appearance of the Grim Knight here. So this is a book to, it could possibly gain value. I'm going to say it will gain value.
Cool.
The story, it's not nearly as, I wouldn't say convoluted as the first one was, but it's a lot more straightforward. There's no like Tarantino-esque going back and forth. It's a very linear story is what I mean to say. So they just go with it, and it's great. And you get all different like, I don't know. Like, I can go on and on about this and tear it up panel for panel, but I think it's just best you read it yourself, and it's totally worth a read.
Yeah, sounds like you're a fan.
I am. I've always had a soft spot since the Batman Who Laughs came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that character design is... I'm gonna read everything that this character's in, to be honest. Like, it's got me. And I love the Grim Knight, too, so...
Right on.
Fucking A.
Hell yeah. What's next?
Red Hood Outlaw, a book that you got me on. Number 30, Scott Lobdell, Pete Woods, and Rear Locus, cover by Pete Woods. So tell me about Red Hood Outlaw.
So it picks up right where the last one left off. He just beat up the Pie Lady, who we know is an android type thing called a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He's tracking down something else. He's going to a prison, or Hierve el Agua, and this old lady at the gas station is like, no one goes there, no one with a soul. And so I was like, well, I think I'll be fine. So he gets to this prison, and it's abandoned. There's skeletons hanging from a rope. It looks really ominous.
But there's signs that Bizarro and Artemis have been through there.
Right, yeah.
So that kind of tips him off a little bit.
He gets there, and he does run into
Wingman.
signs of Artemis. You know, like, oh, there's a sword here. You know, it was puncture. All right, so we're dealing with somebody big and powerful. Wait, no, the gashes in this wall. This wasn't done by a sword, an axe. Artemis, and you know, continues like, oh, well, Bizarro was with him. Well, somebody else runs into him, and
Wingman.
Yeah, just stops him in his tracks.
Third-rate Batman from Gotham, trying to bring him back to Gotham he feels that Red Hood would be the voice to lead all of these lost inmates to, like, turn them around into goodness again.
Right.
But at the same time, Red Hood's kind of offended that this third-rate Batman would be the one to capture him and bring him back.
You think you can do what Batwoman and Batman couldn't do? I don't think so. You can't drag me back. But then he shows, like, no, I'm not here to drag you back. I'm trying to convince you of your own volition to do this. But then he gets hit in the face with the brick.
Like these magic bricks come, like, flying out of nowhere.
Right, yeah. They just fly out of the wall and beat him up.
Yeah.
And then he climbs through the hole in the wall, and
he finds
instead of looking for clues, no, there's just a giant floating arrow made out of bricks pointing in a direction. It's like, oh, subtle. He does travel forward, and he finds...
There's the production facility for all these Mondays that are being created. And I say Mondays in quote, because they're like... That's what Batwoman coined the terms as. They're like Solomon Grundy, cyborg, half-human, like a third human... if it were a man-bear-pig, it would be... cyborg, Grundy... human.
Then you have to do it man-bear-pig style. It's half cyborg, half Grundy, half human.
That's the one. There we go. That's why we brought you on this podcast, man. So yeah. Anyways, sorry.
So he starts, going through this prison, dark tunnels, and he runs into a dog that kind of becomes his best friend, and he names him Dog because Red Hood isn't good at names, hence
Classic.
Red Hood.
Yeah. And he those aren't your words.
Yeah,
those are the narrators.
Which Red Hood is this? Is this Jason Todd?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he was on this case with this prison because Red Arrow has been killed.
Oh,
Roy
shit.
Harper, and this was a case that they were working on. So to honor him, he is looking back into this case and he wants to solve it in his memory. Well, so he's in this prison, and these bricks all lead him to a kid that he's met before called Bunker.
Bumper.
Well, Bunker is what his real name is. He's like, I met this kid before, right? Bumper? No. Bunker.
Oh, I wrote Bumper. I like Bumper more.
Yeah, so he wants to let him out, and before he can do so, he is stopped by a man calling him
Solitary.
Right, Solitary.
And bum.
Right, that's where we'll pick up next week.
In issue 31 of Red Hood Outlaw.
If I've learned anything from mystery shows and horror and things like that, you never know, even if they're a bad guy, when they're keeping somebody in a cage, it might be for a good reason.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You never know.
Could be.
But
he helps the Red Hood, so he can't be all bad, right? Right?
I mean, people help other people in their own self-interest, especially in comic book universes, all the time.
Right, definitely.
Fucking A. Do we have any more DC titles? Did you read Teen Titans like you were told to?
I did not read Teen Titans, but I did read Titans.
Oh, okay. Can you tell me about some Titans?
I can tell you about Titans. So it picks up a little bit different than when we left off last time. Because last time was about this Blood Queen and this Blood Cult they were having to deal with. Well, go back a little bit. There were something that was causing these like orc type creatures to invade. There was a distress signal that they were able to pick up, and they meet this author who created this series called Unearth. Well, they thought that they had defeated them and stopped it, but this author is now in Unearth with his creations, and he's working for this Dark Lord, or like he's just touring the world that he created. But there is a character that he's really fascinated about that he did not create. It's like, oh, I find it so amazing that the world created you, not something that I imagined. Well, we get the big reveal that this is Raven's soul half.
Ooh.
Because during this battle, when they were finished, she felt like something was missing. And then we find out that part of her soul is separated from her. Well, this evil lord has now tamed this part of her soul and has it as a puppet for her. Well, then now we fast forward a little bit, and we've got this character and the Blood Cult Queen working together.
Yeah.
And that's mostly all we get for this one, but it's a pretty cool story.
Alright, so I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 3 characters that are in this
We have
story.
Miss Martian. We have...
Hold on, what's a Miss Martian? Tell me about Miss Martian. Is that Martian Manhunter's little spawn?
Yeah, that's Mariah.
Mariah Martian?
Yeah.
I like
well,
it.
not Mariah Martian. I can't remember her last name. Sorry.
Mariah?
No. We
Mariah
get Beast
Martian
Boy.
Hunter.
We get Donna Troy, and we've got Kyle Renner as the Green Lantern.
Kyle Renner is a part of the Titans, or he's just in this?
Yeah, he's part of the Titans now. He's a brand new member of the Titans.
No shit.
Yep. Just.
So I guess they're not teens anymore. So.
Well, I guess not. No, I guess a little bit older.
We have a Teen Titans book.
Right.
We gotta really get up on our.
I believe this is the Titans team that was put together by Nightwing, because the Teen Titans were broken up.
Okay.
They were no longer a team for a little
that's
while.
why you don't have
and then
a
he's
Starfire or a Beast Boy anymore.
Right.
Where's the
well,
Cyborg?
They had changed up already. We don't have Cyborg anymore. Now we have Steel, who is like this.
Steel? Is that Shaquille O'Neal?
No, it's like this female cyborg type. I don't really know much about her other than the couple novels of Titans I've read.
Oh, okay.
Really cool character design. I know, huge hammer, big tentacle-like apparitions on her head. Just really cool looking character.
Sure it's not Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm sure it's her right there on the left.
Oh, well, I don't know. It could be.
Nah,
definitely not.
But I didn't read any Champions this week, so I was able to keep the 2 teams together.
Good for you. Good for you. All right, you passed the test. Because Mariah Manhunter, I don't know about, but yeah, no, please keep reading this for my sake.
Oh no, it's not Mariah. Fuck, it's Megan.
Oh, like Megan.
Like Megan, right?
It's just a funny way of saying it.
Right. Well, I mean, you put an apostrophe in anything, boom, alien name.
Is that an owl griffin?
It is, and that is actually Raven.
Oh, naturally.
That's the spirit half on top of the griffin. Which, if you flip through a couple more pages, you will see the reveal.
I like it.
It's a pretty cool story so far. I don't really, again, I haven't read too far back, so I don't really know a whole lot about this team, but I'm enjoying the art. I'm enjoying the fantasy style writing of it. It's definitely got a lot in the background going on. We got this whole Blood Cult Queen. I mean, yeah, we got a lot of answers that need to be questions that need to be answered.
I did it.
Yeah, you got it in my head.
Got it under your head.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Sweet. Do you have any more DC books?
No, I think that's all.
I have a question for you. So, did Static Shock ever make his way into the DC comic verse, or was it only animated?
I don't know.
Because in the animated DC universe, he ends up being part of the Justice League at one point, or making an appearance at least with the Justice League. But I don't know if he ever actually ended up in the comic book universe.
Well, he was in the comic book universe. I just don't know whose. Yeah, well, I think this is silly that we don't know this stuff, so let's check it out real quick. And the first thing that I'm actually seeing is a New 52 thing, so that's big. So he's definitely in the DC comic universe.
Still relevant, cool.
But what was his actual first appearance, Mason?
Let me see. Okay, so his actual first appearance was actually a solo issue of his own, Static Number 1, June 1993.
Who's that by?
That's Dwayne McDuffie, Dennis Cohen. This is just the credits for created by.
Sure.
And Michael Davis and Derek Dingle.
Nice, man. We know that Phil Lamar is the... I knew that.
Phil Lamar was the voice for him in the animated series. I just wasn't aware that he actually... His first appearance was his own series.
Standalone series.
Yeah, his own standalone series.
I can honestly say I had no idea that he was part of the DC universe.
I knew he was DC.
Yeah, I knew that much.
I didn't know he was his own standout. I thought maybe he was like a side character at some point.
So how come we're not seeing him currently being written in the DC universe? I love this fucking character. I mean, I think it was Phil Lamar's voice, honestly, that made me love this character, because I love Phil Lamar.
Especially when you look at the teams he's been with. He's been with the DC Heroes, the Justice League, Star Labs, Teen Titans, Young Justice, and the Shadow Cabinet.
He would be perfect as a Titan, I think.
That's a great resume.
Yeah.
Huh.
Son of a bitch. Alright, well, let's... I don't know, if you guys are on Twitter, like, just real quick, maybe you guys could hit us up with the best your favorite Static Shock issues we could check out real quick.
I would love to look that up and read it.
Y'all know where to find us on Twitter, at Cheers to Comics. Anyways, you did actually have a couple more... That was a great fucking question. I'm glad we know about that. Thanks, Mason.
Yeah, no
problem. Yeah, I don't know how many issues his New 52 ran, but that's I don't know. I bet you he died in there. What?
Yeah, so I do have a couple comics I want to talk about this week.
You do? Oh, yeah, Electric Warriors.
Yep, so we do have Electric Warriors. Again, this has continued to be a great series. It's by Orlando, Foreman, and Hi-Fi.
Oh, Steve Orlando. So, oh, yeah. No, Steve Orlando, he's the guy writing Martian Manhunter, so he writes that weird shit.
I've loved it so far.
I remember reading this now. Yeah, I didn't read this week, but I remember this story. Cool, go on. I'm excited.
This one gets a little bit more convoluted and a little bit more complicated than the last one. So one of the warriors kind of gets this flash vision of sorts, and he sees that these people who are in charge of these electric warrior battles, which are supposed to be the alternative to wars, is you issue a warrior who is empowered by the electric seed, and they will settle all conflicts, all territory fights, all resource qualms.
Gotcha. Did you know, quick side note, Electric Seed was my nickname in high school.
Really? Yeah, I believe that, for sure. Well, anyway, so where we left off last time is we've got Earth has two electric warriors because beasts or animals have evolved to the point of intelligence, and they've become the more dominant species on Earth. So mankind and them have warred for so long. Now they are in this like weird teetering treaty, but they couldn't decide on a champion to represent them as Earth. So they decided to have two. They split their electric seed, one into an animal, one into a human. Well, the human, his brother was actually supposed to become the warrior, and he decided that his brother was too good, was too important to be the warrior because it would pretty much mean his imminent death eventually. So he took his place. And he was gifted the Shroud of Kal-El. He's got Superman's cape on him, which will help protect him. And he is Warcry. He's able to amplify and use sound against his opponent. Well, his counterpart to Earth is an octopus. I can't remember her name.
I bet it's a great one, though.
It is. I can't remember. Akana.
That's what I would have guessed.
An octopus who can use electricity. She's just really badass.
This is also very interesting, though, because, like...
Well, this is actually a Jack Kirby created universe from way back that was just being, like, retouched and re-expanded now. Like, Jack Kirby created this universe way back.
Okay.
When he went over to DC, when he started, being able to, like, do his own shit.
But so is the story basically that the animals just hit like their evolutionary pattern faster? They started to kind of like
I think it was man-made.
Oh, you think it was?
I believe so. That's
kind of like the Planet of the Apes scenario. It's like we initiated this to happen.
I really have so little knowledge. They just kind of like mention it briefly in the first issue. And they don't really emphasize a whole lot on it.
Well, just because based on the art style, what I'm seeing is very humanoid characters.
Yeah, sort of,
with still their animal features.
Yeah, like you've got a lion head with a big man body, but maybe clawed hands. Yeah, they're definitely like the...
Well, like your octopus character, for instance, was walking on 2 legs... but also has the octopus tentacles coming out of her back.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's definitely that humanoid version of it. Anyway, so...
Well, and it's very... I mean, even the art is very, like, a total nod to Jack Kirby with, like, the cosmic colors and... Oh, dude.
I've enjoyed it so far.
Oh, yeah. No, this is... I don't... Steve Orlando has a very, like, back-and-forth way of telling stories. Mm-hmm. He's all over the place. Not in a bad way. He's just a master storyteller. It's just not everybody's flavor.
It's definitely a little bit more convoluted in its delivery.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot. I mean, and it's not like a lot of the questions we have here is probably not answers that we missed. They just haven't been delivered.
I definitely like this design for Warcry. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it is definitely cool. So this opening scene that we have is Warcry and Kana fighting. So Oscar... he lost his last battle, which was for resources between Earth and an alien race. Because he lost, the food sources on Earth were cut out. They were given to the other race. Well, mankind wanted food. They wanted grain. So they took it from the animals, which is at the start of a war. But now they don't kill millions of people in wars. It's all settled through the Electric Warrior arena. So it's now Earth versus Earth.
Okay, so it's very
him
much
fighting, and like he's very remorseful about it, but he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want his humans on Earth to go without food, so he kills her. He just blows her head right up, and then we cut back to the other scene, and this person who's having this vision sees the people who are in charge of this feasting and auctioning off the flesh of fallen Electric Warriors.
That is so fucking Jack Kirby, it's ridiculous.
And we get back, and we've got these other warriors who are fighting. Well, they were just recruited by Orthus, who is like the oldest living Electric Warrior. He has survived the arena longer than any of them. Well, he is now fighting one of his comrades that he just recruited, and he's refusing to kind of fight back. I'm not really sure if he's trying to hold his own, but he's defeated, and he is killed. Now we go back to Oscar, and he is remorseful. He's punching the wall and screaming, like, I didn't want to do it. I had to do it, but I didn't want to. You weren't supposed to be my enemy. Well, we get the reveal that Kana, who one of her abilities is to be able to heal, because she healed Oscar in the last one, and she was able to regenerate. She's not dead, but she didn't want to reveal that to him because she wanted him to feel that remorse for an animal, because she knows that he hates the animal kind. Well, we get these two who are reunited with part of the other team, and one of the characters who had the vision is part of this team, and he proposes this plan to infiltrate the tower, which could mean their death if they're caught. But they all decide to go with it, and we get this like little team building exercise montage, and they do break in, and Oscar, his power of course is sound, so he's able to amplify the sounds through the wall to kind of create an image, I think, so that the rest of the team can see this. And the vision was true, and they are now ending off the comic with or this issue with they're gonna stop it.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's a really interesting heavy sci-fi story. Lots of like strange sci-fi imagery. It's my jam.
The Electric Warrior storyline, I cannot think of where I know that's pulled from, but there is there is a storyline I've seen many times before, and I can't think of what the original is, where it's when society came to a point where where the wars were so massive that they could wipe out the entire world. Instead, they said, okay, pick your warrior, put them here, and let them fight. I mean, it's almost like the story for Mortal Kombat at that point. It's the battle for Earthrealm.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that in history. Even even Homer wrote about that.
Oh, absolutely, and the Odyssey, absolutely. Well, not the Odyssey, but like
Troy.
Troy, exactly. When you have, before you even get to the Trojan horse, you have the
champion versus champion.
Yeah, champion versus champion, where Achilles just destroys.
Mm-hmm.
Righto. Okay. Well, that was a hell of a goddamn rundown. Thanks, man.
And I think there was another one. Now that I'm thinking of it, I did read another DC. Did you read Detective Comics?
No, I told you I was waiting till issue number 1000 before I read it. But I hear the story arc's great on it, kind of like the revisiting of Batman's parents' death and all that, like the sick, twisted joke that's being played on him. And I don't know much about it other than what I just said. But I hear that Peter J. Tomasi and who else is on this book? This fucking art's amazing. But Tomasi is an awesome writer. So
it looks very much like how a lot of McFarlane's drawing is, where
lots of tiny little fun lines.
Like lots of tiny little fun lines. It's like nothing is a mistake. It's just a happy addition. Not even a happy accident. A happy addition.
Yep. Doug Mankey. There we go. And then Jaime Mendoza and Mark Irwin, colored by David Barron, and that cover by Mankey, Mendoza, and Barron as well. It's pretty fucking dope. So yeah, no, let's dive right into this. I'm curious to see what you got to say, because I did not read it. Like I said, I'm waiting until issue number 1000.
So again, Alfred was injured, and he's left. Batman is leaving Damian in charge to watch over him and the Batcave while Batman goes out. And Batman wants to find answers, so he goes to Arkham Asylum and he beats up a bunch of inmates looking for some information. He had killed an enemy who was the daughter of I can't remember this guy's name. Duckard. I can't remember his name, but anyway,
we'll go with Duckard.
Well, Duckard has been hiding away in the catacombs and just living off of spam and hiding away. Well, Batman shows up, and Duckard has a realization that he's being hunted, but not by Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And there is somebody else who has been consuming all the enemies of Batman, and they are becoming an aberration, a very horrific, grotesque abomination.
Jesus, this art is amazing.
Oh, isn't it? And so
you hit it on the head with the McFarlane reference, Mason. Like, that is very McFarlane, but in its own way.
Well, it's also like the body horror is very Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like a psychological effect. Like this monster is targeting certain enemies for a certain reason. Well, Batman wants to find answers, so he starts climbing back up, and he's going to find his old master. And he climbs all the way to the top of the mountain, and he is met by a disciple. And they have a little bit of a battle, but Batman decides to spare his life after his old master stops him.
Well, Batman would never kill him anyways, but okay, I gotcha.
Maybe not with a gun, but yeah. In the Detective Comics series, I think he might.
Oh.
It definitely seems to be written a little bit more dark. Definitely.
Batman's a killer?
Well, I mean, regardless, you never know what could happen when you just go just a little bit too far with your hands.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, this comic pretty much ends off with Batman wanting to be unseen, so he has to do a halo jump into New Mexico. And he runs into somebody who says, "No, Batman, it is a trap, and it is none other than Mr. Miracle himself."
A very aged Mr. Miracle.
Very old Mr. Miracle.
Miracle Man.
Yep.
Wait, which Miracle Man? This isn't Marvel Man Miracle Man, is it?
No.
Okay.
Huh. Wow. Son of a bitch. Alright,
again, like, I'm missing something of the series because I just picked up the last 2 books, but I mean, I've liked everything about it so far.
Son of a bitch.
I'm definitely looking forward to more.
Thanks for that. Like, thanks for throwing in a character that Marvel has officially actually claimed a copyright to, because they had to claim the copyright on another character from the 1960s that got a reliving in the 1980s through Alan Moore.
Well, Mr. Miracle is one of DC's like hottest titles.
But they have him literally titled right here in the panel, Miracle Man.
I know.
Marvel,
No, Miracle Man is the name of the next issue.
Oh, okay. Because, okay, so he is Mr. Miracle?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because, I mean, when you have Marvel, there was the Marvel Man, which Marvel had to claim from Britain.
Right.
Like, no, stop that. And then once Marvel actually got their hands on it, then they rebranded it Miracle Man.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, I remember you want me to read this story? I'm reading Mr. I did actually start Mr. Miracle, by the way.
Did you?
And it reads.
I do want you to read it, because, I mean, it's part Alan Moore, and then, like, when Marvel gets their hands on it, it's part Neil Gaiman.
Fucking A, man. Well, I'm excited. I'm glad that you're reading Detective Comics. I'm glad they're throwing in Mr. Miracle. I like the homage. The next issue is going to be titled Miracle Man. I like that you know so much about Miracle Man. I know it's a title that you have been discussing with me for quite some time, Miss.
Well, it's just it's only for the reason that I feel like Alan Moore kind of in the 80s, when he was given that title to really like, hey, this is your chance to write. I've seen some of your work. Let's see what you can really do. Mm-hmm. When he took that title, he was given this very happy-go-lucky British superhero. In the 80s, people were like looking for that darker tone to a lot of stuff.
Something a little bit more gritty.
Yeah, they were looking for something a little bit more gritty. And the last time Marvel Man was relevant was in the 60s. I really want to say he only got like a 4 to 6 year run, if that.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
And so when they plopped it down on Alan Moore's desk, I think he was an editor at Warrior, was what he was an editor for. They basically said, you've got to give us something different. And he started a trend, at least I believe in that time was when that trend really started, was kind of with Alan Moore, that we've seen carry over into a lot of characters, which is, how do you take a character who has a pre-established backstory that is very light and fluffy? It's a lie. It's all been a lie. He was brainwashed. These are false memories that were given to him. It was all a fucking lie.
Sure, that's another trope we've seen.
And he starts, and that's where his facade starts to break, as he starts to get the memories of the past really leaking in, the real memories. And it gets crazy when you start getting into Marvel Man Jr. and all of the other characters from his past who start to resurface, and they're not the way he remembers them.
Huh.
Son of a bitch.
That's some good insight. Thank you for that.
Oh, well, I'll have to definitely check it out. I've been saying that since about the time I've known you, though. But I will, I promise. Speaking of Marvel, let's jump into Marvel books that we've read.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Return of Wolverine, number 4. Okay. Charles Soule, Declan Shalvey, probably saying that wrong, and Laura Martin, covered by Steve McNiven and Sonny Go. Fucking strongest issue by far of this series. I think Wolverine is back. Well, Wolverine is definitely back. Or maybe he's not. Fucking, this could be a zombie Wolverine. On account of Persephone's power of being able to control the dead. She has control over Wolverine in one way or another, which got him to attack the X-Men.
True.
Cut Iceman in half.
Yeah.
So what we get here is Wolverine wakes up in the hospital. Doesn't know how he gets there. Through the first 3 issues, Wolverine is teamed up with Anna, who is nobody really, but searching for her son. So she wakes up, and she goes on to say that, like, if you look outside, the destruction outside is caused by the Weather Witch, and the Weather Witch Storm.
You and your battle with the Weather Witch, right? Yeah, like, we did that?
Right. So then the kid pops up, and what's the kid's name?
Well, okay.
Perrin.
Let's go back a little bit. So she's talking about how all this happens, and then she tries to kiss him, and it's like, oh, well, don't worry about my son. We don't have to save him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The kid pops up.
Because we got my son right here, right?
Right, like the kid that they've been searching for the whole time. He's like, well, when did we find him?
Right. We gotta go save your son, Perrin.
Right. And then he pops up, and he's like, okay, and then they introduce themselves. And then she goes in for the kiss, and then he pulls back, and he finds this all very strange. Then she shoots her son.
Yep.
And then he rises back up, and then
it's not even my son, and his name isn't Perrin. It's just a name I like.
Right, and then you realize that it's Persephone pretty much talking through Anna,
and the kid gets right back up.
She's assimilated through these characters, and
she's able to control the dead.
The dead, and that's what we're getting out of this. And you get like the whole how Wolverine got there, kinda, and like the whatever's going on, and he gets like trapped up in this actually in a pretty cool way, like when it's revealed, like the device they use to hold him back. It's pretty fucking gruesome.
It's a giant spike with straps.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But eventually, what this is leading up to is Persephone sending him on his way with this Zagreus character, which seems to be like this big, stoic, militarized, who knows what type
somebody, probably undead, just like all the other characters that she controls.
And then they pull up to a rocket ship and they're going to space to actually meet the real, like, Persephone. Exactly. So,
going to space.
The way I described this book does not do any justice to the way how Charles Soule wrote this. I thought it was great.
Not at all. But for sure. I mean, it is very well done. I mean, but it takes 3 issues beforehand to get here.
Yeah, all of the stuff that we were questioning, the reasoning for writing in the first 3 issues were pretty much all answered here. Like the whole, this would never happen in this scenario. It's all because there's some sort of undead control popping off. So
sure, yeah.
Things ain't what they seem.
Somebody is definitely pulling some strings.
Goddamn right. Next up, Black Widow #1, Jen and Sylvia Saska, the Saska sisters, as they like to be known as, or at least I'm assuming. And then Flaviano Cover A by Clayton Crane, so you gotta like that shit. This is a Black Widow story.
Cool.
It starts out, she's like at this New Year's Eve bash. She's still going through the trauma of not really being herself anymore because she died in the Secret Wars event, or Secret Empire event with Captain America. The evil Captain America actually killed her. So, awkward with what comes up next. So she's going around living with the fact that she knows she's not herself. She's actually a clone with Natasha's memories implanted in it. So she's going about her whatever at this New Year's Eve bash. I forget what her intentions are. Captain America shows up, and then an evil Captain America shows up. She's able to determine which is which. She goes about her way, but the repercussions of it all, she's like, I need a fucking vacation. So she goes to the most dangerous city on Earth, Madripoor, for a vacation. Gets caught up with Tiger, classic. And she pretty much gets recruited for another mission, pretty much rescuing all these missing persons, which are children in a sense. So even her vacation isn't a vacation. It's
typical superhero story.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything you could want out of a Black Widow book, to be honest. I don't think it's anything extremely exciting. It was a good #1. I mean,
well, I'm almost surprised that they didn't give it like a. I mean, it's a #1, but it reminds me of very much like Bloodshot's Day Off. Bloodshot goes to have a vacation and inadvertently ends up in the middle of a situation because that's how superhero stories
it's a comic.
work.
Hey, you want an adventure? We have to put an adventure in here.
Well, okay, but to be fair, like if you have ever seen Bloodshot's Day Off's cover, he's in a fucking chair in his underwear with like a fucking his bandolier of bullets looped over the chair, his guns next to him. He's got the remote in his hands. Like it honestly gives you the sense of this is just going to be a comic about nothing. He just wanted
to chill on the couch and catch up on the season of Friends.
Exactly.
Show. Moving along.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What's next?
Venom #10. Donny Cates. Ryan Stegman is the penciler. J.P. Mayer is the inker, and Frank Martin is the colorist. Cover by Stegman, Mayer, and Martin. All them guys did the cover as well. So, what we get here out of this one, did you read this one?
I did.
Okay, we get a little bit more of an insight as to Eddie Brock's backstory, home life, family problems.
I feel like we get a lot of meat and potatoes in this one for sure.
We do. So we were kind of misdirected in the last issue. We know that the tension between Brock and his dad is due over an accident, but we're kind of directed to think that Eddie was the victim in the accident.
Mm-hmm.
And as it turns out, he was actually the drunk driver that hit the other kid. So that's revealed.
He wasn't the kid that was hit.
Right. And this is all revealed over some sort of lunch dinner outing with his newly revealed stepbrother.
Right. The one that he didn't even know he had.
Right. Who is also out for Eddie Brock's dad. He's very abusive.
At first.
Right, but what brought them together was them saying,
we need to kill our dad.
Exactly. So here they are over lunch talking about that, and then Eddie reveals this story. The other kid, I don't remember his first name. I'm just going to call him Little Brock. Because why not? He's like very taken back by this. And then Eddie, in his own way, like gets him to take back his statement of we need to kill our dad. But in the meantime, he's like, hey, can I stay with you? Then they show up at this alley. It's like raining.
Where the kid first found him.
Right. And he's like, oh, shit. Okay, I guess. He's like, yeah, you can have any room you want.
Yeah, welcome to Shea Brock.
Right. And then Eddie has this vision of like Noel possessing his brother, and he kind of like he hits his brother a couple times, and it's all in his head.
Right, he sees this like symbiote is taking over his brother, and so
it's not just any symbiote; it's Noel.
Right. So he's like, as Venom taking over, like, oh, I'm gonna beat you. I thought we killed you. But then we cut back to Eddie.
Right, and he's coughing up blood, and he passes out, and then the brother's like, well, shit, we need to get you to a hospital.
Right. Is this anywhere in the storyline where Carnage is going around collecting symbiotes, and he's gotten Noel at that point?
Yeah, we've just come back. Yeah, Noel is dead, and now they've put a piece of Noel, the symbiote, into Cletus Cassidy, and brought him back from near death. And so now he is Carnage looking to regain all of the symbiote to become the new god of the symbiote.
Oh, dear God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's pretty much... We're waiting for like the true Venom story to start over. We're just kind of having a couple of 1 and 2 shots to set the stage.
The whole web of Venom stuff happened. Yeah. So yeah, and that's kind of what we're getting out of that. I forget how it ends. How does it end? Let me go back here.
It ends with your brother has aggressive cancer. And
you get the Maker.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
He is the doctor now in charge of Brock.
Yeah, crazy shit. This is great stuff. Not a typical Venom issue by any means, but I don't think any of these 10 issues that Cates have written has been typical by any means. But I love his take on it. I love the personable type of views that they're given. The disturbia that Brock faces, like, that's some deep shit. Like,
yeah, I'm liking this whole story with the lesser symbiote. You know, this Venom symbiote,
and it's going around like in a dog form too. Like,
right.
It's like, when they're at the thing, and they can't have dogs here.
It's just a Venom based on pure instincts.
Yep, exactly. It just reacts to protect Eddie. That's all it does. There's no personality anymore. The most personality you see when it's in dog form, and even then it's still completely instinctive. Right,
it's not this like pseudo-dragon that's able to communicate with him.
Next up, Fantastic Four, number 6, or Legacy number 651, if you're keeping track of all that. Dan Slott, Aaron Cooter, Marte Garcia, and Eric Arcianega, covered by Asad Rabic.
It's a dope Doom cover.
It's a dope
I love
Doom
that color
cover,
palette.
Indeed. It is indeed a dope Doom cover. So it picks up right where the last issue left off. It's wedding night, but it's time to go save Latveria from a Galactus invasion. So they do that. And how deep do we want to go on this, man? Like, I could talk about this issue in depth, or I can flip through it. The fact of the matter is that we get a classic Fantastic Four story and the way that Fantastic Four should be written. Like, the team, Ben's married, no more like emotional family drama at this point. The kids are off like being babysat, even though they're the most powerful of all of them.
For sure.
By far. And that's touched on in this issue. They're even like, but I have the power of a god. Right? Like, we could have had this finished by now. Right. But anyways, So Doom is seemingly fighting off Galactus from devouring Earth, starting with Latveria. And Galactus, in his own way, is becoming a hero of his society even more than he was, because whatever. The Fantastic Four show up, and Reed calls Doom out for being like, oh, your miscalculations have led to this catastrophe. And then Doom reveals that, like, none of this is a miscalculation. And he actually has manipulated Galactus in his favor, because he now has his own herald, which goes by a couple of different names in here. Some call her Lady Victorious, she goes by Zora, but she is now the herald of Doom, and Doom has possessed her with his power.
Miss Vic Doom.
Yeah, Lady Victorious or Bora, or is what she goes by, though. She is, like I said, the herald of Doom. And Doom possesses her with this, like, incredible power, but behind it all, it becomes a lure for Galactus. Doom sends out his servodroids, if you will, or Doombots, or however you want to look at them, but they're called servodroids. And when they go to attack Galactus, they specifically attack the part of him that staves off his hunger. But now, so he doesn't have the hunger to eat anymore, but now he has a desire that's even more painful than ever. And he has a desire for this energy that is protruding off of Zora. So wherever he tells Zora to go, Galactus goes. So when the Fantastic Four show up to Latveria, Doom sends Zora. He's like, go fight, whatever. And she's like, but leave you here to fight Galactus alone? He's like, don't worry about what the fuck I'm doing. Don't question me. So she goes off,
Doom style.
fights the Fantastic Four. Servodroids disrupt Galactus's, what's the word I'm looking for? Regulators is the word they use. So now his whatever's changed. So in the same time that the Fantastic Four show up, Doom is now lured to the Galactus is now lured to the Fantastic Four. So in a roundabout way, this is all just a way for Doom to get Galactus to take out the Fantastic Four as soon as they're together, and that's where it gives
Doom a chance to become the hero in front of his people.
Exactly.
Again.
Doom is just, this is
his MO. This is on brand for Doom. For
I
sure.
know that a couple weeks back I gave Dan Slott a lot of shit for not writing the type of stories that I want out of the Fantastic Four. My bad. He did it. This is the story I want out of the Fantastic Four.
This brings me right back on forth, because it brings the super really cool villains front and center again.
Yep. No, it's good shit. I enjoy it. Moving along in the world of Marvel, we've got Amazing Spider-Man number 13. This is part 3 of the Lifetime Achievement arc. Nick Spencer, Ryan Otley, Cliff Rathburn, Laura Martin, and Andrew Crossley. Cover by Ryan Otley and Laura Martin.
I'm guessing from this cover that we get more Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson. We do. Spider-Man! Yeah, that's right. So, big man's afoot, literally. And this is like an oversized version of Big Man. It's revealed that he's being controlled by, the Big Man should be dead. He used to, we get the backstory a little bit. He used to work for Jameson. He was like Jameson's best journalist. He ends up taking a bullet for Jameson. He dies. And then, as it turns out, what's his actual name? Foswell. Foswell grows up. He becomes a big man himself, but he develops like this giant cyborg, or not cyborg, but like robotic, oversized actual big man. And he's like super OP, starts beating up on Spider-Man. So as Spidey's all subdued, Big Man, or not necessarily Big Man, but little Freddy Foswell Jr. has the gun on Spider-Man. And before he goes to pull the trigger, Jameson and his weirdly heroic manner is like, the deal is I'm kind of the villain because I'm the one that pushed your dad into, being the journalist he is and being neglectful, and he took the bullet from me, and whatever. So then he goes to turn the gun on Jameson, and Spidey's able to direct the bullet to make it just like hit his shoulder. And Jameson goes off in his Jameson ways and non-thankful but thankful. And
I would have been shot in the shoulder if it wasn't for that damn Spider-Man.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So then he goes on to just like fast forward. He goes on to the Kingpin, or the achievement ceremony that's being held.
Mm-hmm. We're finally getting to that.
Right, and then like meanwhile, like it's like cuts to Kingpin. He's just like totally telling like stupid anecdotes or whatever, like fake stories and all this shit.
Yeah, typical Fisk.
Right. And then Jameson shows up, and Fisk is like, well, where's the web crawler? He's supposed to be the one to present the thing. And Jameson's like, well, he's not coming. And Fisk is like, but...
This whole trap was for him!
Well, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it.
And, instead, Jameson, like, calls him out in front of everyone and is like, you're a shitmare, and you're not, you're all this other stuff. So he pretty much just puts a target on his fucking face right
JJ grew a spine.
He did. Well, he's always had a spine. He's just never.
It's just been directed in the wrong place.
Not fair.
Exactly,
fair.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean that's kind of what you're getting out of this. And then, well, Jameson goes back, and it turns out his show's been bumped to a shittier time. And he's like, but my show's like getting to work. And he was like, if you put me to 10 a.m., like those aren't the bums that I want to talk to. And the fact is, they're like, well, you're not like talking shit about Spider-Man anymore. Like that's what people liked, is the shit talking. And it's really just a shout out to like toxic fandom out there. Like that's what gets the fucking attention.
Huh, yeah.
Looking for that one flaw that happens.
Right. A trigger pointer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All this is fucking great, but that one thing right there. No, he's terrible because of that.
Right.
Right. It goes back to that silent majority, the people who like it and just go on with their lives. But then there's those few who are just find something wrong with it and have to become the internet warriors.
Right. And this new rebirth, if you will, Jameson, like since Parker revealed his identity to him way back, like he's had this whole different outlook on Spider-Man, obviously, and that's why Spider-Man is the one that has to present the award and all that. Like, so it's not all that far-fetched, because in the last what is this, 13? I'd say like 18 issues or so of Amazing Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all like fleshed out, like why this makes sense. For like the new readers are like, wait a second, why is Jameson like good? Well, it's because it's all been revealed and blah blah blah. So he's not in the newspaper industry anymore. He's in the radio industry. That's why his radio show is bumped. And just to clarify some stuff to maybe some new readers. And then we get this like flashpoint. Meanwhile, ... back
Mm-hmm.
at the ranch. Because if you like look at this cover, it's very Scorpion-y.
Very.
So far, we haven't said Scorpion yet until now. We're gonna say Scorpion now. Scorpion gets captured by Taskmaster, and he wakes up in this the cell, and he sees Vulture and a bunch of C-list villains. And Vulture's like, don't even try to escape, because they'll just catch you again. Bum, bum, bum. So, a bunch of villains are being rounded up by someone. And I have a feeling it's going to be that.
Is that where it ends?
That's where it ends.
Huh.
Yeah. Gotta love it, man. So Nick Spencer and Ryan Otley doing Spider-Man stuff.
This sounds like a really interestingly written story.
It is. It's just a classic Spider-Man story. It's just told by a new writer.
Huh.
Look at it.
Right on.
Right on, indeed. I think last but not least, Uncanny X-Men number 10, Legacy 629. Ed Brisson, Matthew Rosenberg, Kelly Thompson, Pepper Perez, and Rachel Rosenberg. Covered by Giuseppe Camuncoli, Roberto Poggi, and Jason Keith. And this is the end of the 10-part weekly X-Men Disassembled series.
Right.
The rebirth of the Uncanny X-Men. But I can hardly say rebirth once we get through this.
Unbirth.
Unbirth is a good word, yeah. Unbirth is a good word.
Yeah, I mean, because essentially, we'll get to that.
Right.
Go ahead and start us off.
So, as if you've been reading along, X-Men has possessed the body of Legion, so you see Legion controlling the new Four Horsemen. The newly adopted Storm pretty much like took the place of
gotta
Archangel.
say, this is my favorite version of Storm I've ever seen. That character design, all of these Horsemen character designs have been great, but that Storm, oof.
Aurora's pretty fucking dope in this, man. And she also is the holder of my favorite panel in the book too. So, bleh. But you get this awesome like 2-page spread of all of the X-Men lineup.
Huge lineup of them, yeah, definitely.
Come to fight.
This is a battle to the end for sure.
Well, it's definitely a battle to the end. Like even Cannonball shows up, and like he's damn near sacrifices himself, damn near dies, and like Pixie has to
I got him, guys.
Yeah, and then Psylocke does her thing, and like she's pretty much the one responsible for turning Aurora back over.
Right, stabs her right through the head, just breaking that connection with X-Men, and Aurora is pissed.
And you get the first sign of like how pissed they are once they break the connection with X-Men, and I say they because spoilers.
Takes all the
30
telepaths.
Seconds. Eventually, Jean comes in, and she gets into X-Man's mind, and she's able to separate the two, Legion and X-Man. And in doing such, the other Horsemen are all disconnected.
Right.
And they're kind of confused as to what's going on. There's really no more fighting.
We've got Omega Red, Blob, and not only Storm, but also Magneto, who are now realized that Nathan Grey was in their head and controlling them, and they are pissed. They are out for revenge. You have some of the most powerful X-Men in history.
Right.
But so is the X-Man.
Oh, well, more so than ever.
Yeah.
Because here it comes. You ready? Alright, so after he's separated from Legion, you get the showdown verbally with he and Jean Grey.
In his mind.
And he pretty much just says, well, this is the best way of going about things.
This is how I wanted to end things. I'm dying.
And
I thought this stone that gives me all this power was here to save me. I'm still dying.
And in your best words, Justin, tell me how this ends.
So this ends with Nathan having a monologue with his mother in his own mind, saying that I wanted to end things.
Jean Grey.
I wanted to end the possibility of the world that I come from. I want to make a world not in pain and war and suffering, and the only way I can do that, because I see a world here that I thought was better but still riddled with the same stuff I'm used to, the only way to fix this is to end the X-Men. And so with a huge burst of power that wipes out all of the X-Men, and then we cut to a monologue of another character saying that was the end of the X-Men. All of the mutants were written out. They already started writing them out of the history books, trying to forget them from the annals of time.
And speaking of annal, remember when Beast caught the annal, or Mr. Annal?
Anole?
Anole, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in the lizard world, Anole is pronounced Annal.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected. Yes. My bad.
Well, either way, it's pronounced... No, I'm telling you, because I used to be a herpetologist.
You used to be a lizard. I got you.
Gotcha. So, yes, the reason why it's the success of wiping out mutants is working, poorly worded, is because Anole took this vaccine that Beast was working on, and he passed it on to a government official under false pretenses.
That would prevent the X-gen, or the X gene from manifesting.
Right.
Therefore ending all possibility of future mutants.
And, yes, and so therefore, kids from here on out are vaccinated with the anti-mutant vaccine, henceforth preventing any mutants from being spawned from here on out.
But we end with this dialogue of this other character, which, if the news you mentioned at the beginning of this podcast...
Cyclops.
Oh, you think it's Cyclops, huh? You don't think this is X-Face or Mr. X?
Cyclops. No, it's definitely Cyclops.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Hey, I'm excited for the return of Cyclops.
So okay, in the story that you guys are reading, because as far as I understand, Nathaniel Gray is there's two X-Man. There's Nate Gray and there's Nathaniel Gray. And Nathaniel Gray is actually a clone created by Legion.
Yes.
Does this incorporate both Cyclops and Jean Grey?
Cyclops has been dead.
No, but does it incorporate his DNA into Nathaniel Gray, or is it only Jean Grey's DNA?
This is why I would assume yes, is because Cyclops is back.
Okay.
And
yeah, they don't mention
because Nate Gray is just their kid.
This is Scott right here. I'm going to tell you.
No, okay, yeah, I get that, but they don't actually mention verbatim if this is the clone. I think this is the clone. I think they do mention that this was in a world created by Legion.
It's definitely a clone, because when it's Nathaniel Gray, it is Legion's created clone.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a clone.
And when it's Nate Gray, there's a difference between just those two names really make the difference. When it's Nate Gray, then it's made sure that that is Jean and Cyclops' kid.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. This is definitely Nathaniel. I mean, they call
Nate
him Nate
Gray,
a couple times, but it's definitely Nathaniel.
Yeah.
No, Nate Gray is what eventually becomes, friends with Bishop, and then Cable.
Gotcha. Mm. So, with all that being said, we leave it off where at this point this series is no longer weekly. We're going to get an annual this week, and then it's going to go to bi-weekly, written by Matthew Rosenberg. And of the three, I'm so glad it's Matthew Rosenberg. But
always excited for more Rosenberg.
So I had mentioned earlier that we're going to talk more about Liefield's creation of old what was his name? It's not X-Face, but it's
Mr. X?
Major X.
Major X.
So the backstory of Major X is he's actually from a dimension where mutants have been living peacefully for a very long time. And it seems that there's a lot, it's hinted at in this prelude that I'm getting out of Major X's backstory, that at least the tidbit, the teaser they're giving us, was that there are some familiar X-Men that have shown up. Probably due to the effects of Nathan Gray. Mm-hmm. So it tells me it may not have necessarily wiped him out, but it probably sent him all off of Earth. So they're probably all floating around out there.
Or in hiding on Earth.
On whatever dimension that Major X is at. No, the only reason why I think Scott Gray is the only mutant left next to Wolverine. Because it's already been...
Well, Beeson and Knoll weren't in that battle. They weren't blown up, were they?
I think it's just all of X-Men. No, and Beeston and Knoll did show up.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah,
alright.
They were there. But, yeah, so Major X is actually, I think, going to be the one to bring back very key mutants back to Earth to help bring, to help find Cyclops and Wolverine. They've already kind of spoiled, even like in the back of this issue, so it's not necessarily a spoil, but they're just giving us a forward plot point of here on out of the development.
Didn't read that.
And it is going to be Wolverine and Cyclops coming together, and then I think X-Man is going to show up and somehow make his way into being an uncanny X-Men, and bring with him along what I'm assuming would probably be like Jean Grey, Kitty Pryde,
maybe seeing the error of his ways and trying to undo his act.
Oh, I don't know. What do you mean? Who seeing the error?
Nate, Nathaniel. I mean, just. I don't really know how they're gonna do this. Like, they can't leave the entire X-Men as we know them dead.
That's what I'm.
They might.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. They're all off. They're not dead. They're just not on Earth.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does Genosis exist in this universe?
I don't know.
This has just been 10 issue run of a reboot of Uncanny, but it's not really the Uncanny that you know.
It's pretty much 10 issues leading up until the rebirth of this new team, which will be led by Cyclops, Wolverine, and an undetermined team at this point. That's what I'm trying to say, is that this Major X, somehow Liefeld got his way, and he's going to play a part, and his character is going to reunite a lot of the other X-Men and mutants with...
Oh, please, you're saying Major X is going to do this?
That's what I'm saying.
Please tell me Liefeld's not, like, Mary suing this?
I know that he's writing the Major X series.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you don't get to put in, like, your new character and say, oh, well, he's this new guy who's the best and the baddest, and he's going to unite everyone.
No, I think he's just going to be a cute character. I don't think he's going to be OP. I think he's going to be... I think his thing, to be honest, is going to be, like, dimensional in some way. Like, he's going to be, like, a cosmic character in some way. That's at least my guess. I don't know.
We'll see what happens. Right now, right now, I just see Dread.
What I'm saying, right?
I can see that.
What I want everybody to get out of this rambling that I've done is that Major X, Rob Liefeld's character that we touched on in the beginning, is going to be a massive key to the development of the actual Uncanny X-Men team.
Oh, definitely sounds like it.
That will have Scott Summers and Logan that are still remaining on Earth. How they survive.
Unpopular opinion, I like Cyclops. I'm excited for some more Scott Summers, as long as it's not like the total jealous asshole Scott Summers.
We'll see. It's I don't know. The writers seem to have hated Scott over the years, or at least tried to villainize him.
To a point. I mean, yeah.
I was gonna say some fans have kind of, been unhappy with him over the years too.
He's definitely developed. I mean, he's always kind of been that like asshole jock.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's always been kind of like the prick in the X-Men.
They've really amplified that in the recent years.
Really, just kind of like upscaled the prick factor.
Oh, to the point of like demolishing societies.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say it's all like because at the point it was all like when I started reading X-Men back in the 90s as a kid. It already seemed like, man, he is very stereotypical jock asshole.
Kind of. I mean, he's a man who's had a rough past, and he doesn't know how to cope with that. Yeah. And he has a ton of power.
It's like the nerd who got picked on and then got the jock asshole powers, but he wasn't picked on long enough to actually understand, hey, I can use these for good.
Just enough to share the hate.
Well, yeah, just enough to share the hate.
He's also been written as a womanizer, too, and that's, I think, what he's most
definitely. That's his worst attribute.
That's why I think about him coming back, like, in this current state and climate. It's interesting.
Just imagine how different the storyline would be if instead of, Nate or Nathaniel Gray being from Scott Summers and Jean Grey, you instead got Jean Grey and Gambit.
Well, and then that went on to be Rogue and Gambit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that went on to be Rogue and Gambit. But think about the child that Jean Grey and Gambit could output. Because when you think about it, Scott Summers more or less has kind of the, judging by the color palette, really, of the original series, Gambit and Scott Summers' powers are very closely related, but they're focused in different ways, whereas Gambit is more kinetic energy delivery. His is focused, not Jean Grey, but Scott Summers has always been more of a focused photon beam delivery.
Right.
But imagine, like, when you have kinetic energy charge plus telekinetic powers.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, no, it's a super OP character.
Exactly.
But, there's a lot to be desired in this upcoming team, because if Jean Grey does rejoin, then we obviously know this.
But I understand that, like, it's either been the Gambit and Rogue mix or the Wolverine Rogue mix for a long time, when it comes to that couple existing.
Sure.
Well, I mean, as of right now, like, Rogue and Gambit are married. Like, it's Mr. and Mrs. X now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have their own ongoing comic done by Kelly Thompson. Like,
that's cool.
They have their own wedding issue and everything.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
They're officially married. So yeah, that's the thing. We don't have to worry about any Gambit, anything like that. The weird part is going to be Logan, Summers, and Jean Grey all coming together again.
Yeah.
And we all know, I mean, they're not going to let Jean Grey stay in the abyss. She's coming back. And I would guarantee that, I can't say guarantee, but my best guess would be the one, Major X is the one that re-delivers her back.
I mean, it looks like Major X involves Cable as well here.
Yeah, who actually should be dead, according to events that happened recently.
I'm going to say this, though. With Cable's timeline, it's always very convoluted, because anytime he can be dead, he can come from a separate period in time back.
Sure, yeah. I mean, he has a lot of tools at his disposal.
Exactly. And
I mean, if it's not a power, it's a technology.
Right. And depending on which version of, like, timeline inclusion you go on, it can always be even weirder.
He does have a narrative out for almost anything.
Mm.
And is that Deadpool? It sure looks like Deadpool.
It does, and I would guess, being that it's Rob Liefeld and all he created, co-created, because that's why Liefeld isn't so liked. He doesn't give credit where credit's due to his other half. Anyways, and I don't remember his name, so fuck me too. I think we should move on to wall books, huh?
Yeah, what do you got? What'd you buy?
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. I thought of a new segment. And it's gonna be new number ones.
No, I don't like that.
Yeah, well, you're gonna go with it.
Old number ones.
Shit that you read, titles that you read for the first time, or number ones that came out. Because I figure every week there's usually something new that we're trying, whether it's number one or not. I think this week for me, what falls in that category would obviously be Black Widow.
Okay.
And then Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, or very new. Those are the two titles that I read this week that I've never played with before. So if I had to give a one or the other, I would actually say that Black Widow takes this one.
Okay.
It's a close. It's not that I didn't enjoy Scooby-Doo Apocalypse by any means, but I think Black Widow delivered exactly what I expected out of Black Widow, and I'm not gonna lie. I went into this book thinking that this is not going to be the Black Widow that I know and love. And these sisters played very true to writing Natasha Romanoff. I like the fact that she's playing a very disturbed clone. Like, she's very self-aware. She's like, this is not me. I'm a clone with implanted memories, but here I am. Like,
very self-aware.
Yeah. And I enjoyed that. I did. I liked the fact that this book had two quick arcs. It had the Captain America arcs, save that New Year's Eve party real quick before evil Captain America again, who she has PTSD considering an evil Captain America from Secret
But I like that, because you typically when you get like the clone implanted with memories who becomes aware that they're a clone implanted with memories, it leads to like, oh god, this has got to be, an off the rails issue now, or this clone is going to go berserk because it knows what it really is.
No.
And they're not going that way.
No. What they do is they pretty much say, like, yes, we understand we kind of fucked up by killing her off in Secret Empire. Essentially, this is just a perfect clone version of Natasha.
Sure.
She's back, but she's not. Deal with it.
I'm
okay with them going that route, because Nick Spencer did kind of fuck her. I'm not going to lie, but I like the way that they flipped it around. They made her relevant, and they gave her two quick stories, and like I want to say this is probably like 28 pages, so it's just a wee bit oversized. But I was happy spending $5 on it. Am I gonna continue reading it? I might give it one or two more issues. I don't. It's just. I find it very typical. So if you're looking for a story that you're hoping for, especially now that they announced the Black Widow movie is going to be rated R, in the Marvel universe, they're announcing this is going to be Marvel's first rated R movie. It's exciting to see a relaunch of this character in comics, and yeah, I don't think it's anything to not get on board. I have a super heavy pull list, so it depends on which week it falls on.
Right, definitely.
But not bad by any means.
Nice.
Yeah, so that would be my first time read or
good
number
pick.
one.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a new segment, I guess, that we're gonna throw out there. Some weeks are heavier than others. Some, Marvel likes to reboot shit all the time, so we'll have lots of opportunities for new reads.
I'm gonna have to learn to freaking catch up with you on some of the stuff you're reading.
Oh, you absolutely should, man. We got lots of suggestions.
Yeah, we can give you a list of recommendations for sure.
Yeah, because all I've got right now is waiting on like the 6 month to year freaking hiatuses that Kentaro Miura takes in between Berserk issues.
Yeah. I have at least a year to wait for Brian Vaughn's saga, so I know your pain.
No, you don't, because Kentaro Miura has been writing this since the fucking 80s, basically.
Well, that's a subject for another podcast.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you got a number one first-time read that you highly enjoyed?
I would say Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, because I did enjoy it.
A smell of butt.
But
yeah, I heard that.
Would you count Invaders as number one? Because it was an issue number one. However, it's kind of a flashback between the present and past, intertwinings of a story between Captain America, Namor, and Bucky.
I could count that.
Because it wasn't issue number one.
That's fine.
If so, I would say that would probably be my number one.
Son of a bitch. Well, look at that.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have a quick story of Namor going to another group of Atlantean residents who have kind of been outside of his rule for a while, doing as they please. And he shows up all by himself, no army, to coerce them into cooperation with him. And then we have a couple flashbacks between Captain America and Namor and Bucky, all on Storming of Normandy. One of their good friends dies. But then we jump forward to Namor carousing at the bar, drinking, and flirting with women. And Steve Rogers pretty much calls him out, like, your friend just died, and this is how you're going to act? Namor being Namor is like, oh, well, he's just a mortal. You think that the lives of mortals are so relevant to me?
Well, I mean, at the same time, you kind of have to understand with some characters like that, when a mortal dies, how long has this character been around?
Sure.
It's
but
like they have just kind of gotten used to, they're far more vulnerable than me. I can take my 5 minutes basically to mourn them, but in the scope of my lifespan, they're nothing.
Right, but of course, this is a question between Namor, who
and Steve Rogers
is pretending to not care,
right,
but does care, doesn't know how to cope because Atlantean, and Steve Rogers, who's calling him out on his bullshit, saying, hey, one of your friends died, let's go pay respects.
Right.
So he does confront this other Atlanteans, doesn't even have a battle with them, pretty much strips the water from sight from them as they, like, struggle on dry land. And when they finally confess their loyalty to him, all the water's back.
Bam.
Just
damn, Moses.
like nothing we've seen before from Namor. And we have some more inner dialogue between Steve Rogers and an old friend, blah, 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 blah. We have Namor crying over his friend on the beach, and I think they're just really setting up the story that we've been following between Defenders and Avengers and everything else that's been going on in the large scope Marvel.
More of what I've heard from that then was it was less, Namor just like, it's a mortal, more as Namor going, this is kind of my way of coping.
Sort of, but they're also showing, because we haven't really had a whole lot of motivation why Namor has, like, annexed mankind, or, like, the land man away from the oceans, and he's now, like, become an enemy of mankind. Boats? Like, no. The sea is now his domain. You're not allowed there. And he has his own team of, like, anti-Avengers who has been attacking him. And so we're kind of culminating between, like, a bunch of different teams in the world now. Avengers is with Wakanda. The America now has their own team. Then there's the Winter Soldiers, or what do they call them? The Russian team?
Oh, yeah, I don't remember, but they're good.
Yeah, Northern something, I think.
I don't know about Northern, but I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, they
I
have
mean,
their own
typically,
team.
in whether you go for DC or Marvel, when they go for, like, Russia, they go for the Red.
Or Soviet.
Something.
Soviet something or Red something.
I don't remember.
But anyway.
If you guys know, hit us up on Twitter, remind us.
Oh, they know.
But anyway, so then we have Namor and his team, and they haven't really given us a whole lot of why he's working against everybody. But in this one, we finally get a little bit of a confession. It's like, alright, King, what is your goal? I want to end all wars. Like, no more needless killing. I will do the unspeakable so the unspeakable doesn't need to happen ever again.
Sounds a lot like X-Men.
Well, sort of. I mean, that's kind of what's building up a little bit.
Yeah, Namor's been a prick.
Well, you have to understand where you get with a lot of these. When you have... sorry to bring it back to that, but, like, the Miracle Man story. The Marvel Man Miracle Man story. The whole point of that story is when a superhero goes uncontested, basically. when nobody else can match up to them, and they have say. They have the capability for say over how the world is going to go.
Huh.
It's always the question of how does that power transition into actual decisions? Does that corrupt? Do they actually end up with benevolent decisions? Or, even in their pursuit of benevolent decisions, do they end up with very corrupted evil decisions?
Sure, if they're so powerful that nobody can contest them, doesn't necessarily mean that they're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm just saying, I think that's a story trope that I like seeing a lot of the time, when you finally get that point where this character basically has rule over this world at this point. What's going to happen with their, essentially at this point, dictatorship?
No, that's definitely a strong theme. Anyway, because we got so far off the rails.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Brian, you were talking about your wall books now.
Well, I wasn't, but I will.
Let's do that.
Shall we move on to wall books?
Let's do it.
Alright. All in favor of wall books, say aye.
Aye.
Or.
The aye. Ayes have it. You all know what wall books are at this point. It's the books I like to put on my wall. Just to keep the explanation plain and simple this week. The beers are working perfectly. Thank you, Oscar Booze. I think the rest of this is going to speed along just nicely. First book, Ben Oliver did the variant cover for Batman Who Laughs #2. More Batman Who Laughs on the cover. It's fucking amazing. Look how good it is. It's that good.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's basically a revision of one of your metal books you have up there.
Exactly. That's where it came from. So, yes, I want to give a shout out to Ben Oliver on that cover. It's great. Next up, we have, I saw you really eyeballing this one, Bill Sienkiewicz. I definitely said the last name wrong, more than likely. But he's a legend. He did variant cover for Hawkman 8. And it's very like Alex Ross-ish, very pretty, realistic. I love it. It's good stuff. It's good. I don't think I have any Hawkman on my wall. I do now. I've got Hawkgirl, but now I have Hawkman. The other one was Art Germ. He did Supergirl 26, Super Art Jeremy. Honestly, it's very reminiscent of every other Supergirl cover he's ever done, but what are you gonna do? And what do you know, Francesco Mattina, he still has work. Or, yeah, we'll see.
I'm sure this was already at the print long before the story broke.
Definitely was. Suicide Squad #50, he did cover B. It's awesome. It goes along well with the rest of the... I feel like it should be a connecting cover, but it's not. But what are you going to do? I think you really should have done the connecting cover on that. But it's going to go nicely with the rest of that line I have lined up on the Mattina part of my wall.
Yep, right above your...
I do. I'm hoping I still get to keep adding to that, because like if you listen to last week's podcast, some bad news came out. So I don't know.
No such thing as bad press. I think we'll be fine, because he still produces some amazing stuff. Maybe he just needs to slow down and not have 3 covers every week.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that McFarlane's going to keep working with him regardless, so we'll see. I really like his DC variants he's been doing.
Man, especially those
the Batman's
Deathstroke ones.
The Deathstroke fucking covers are his
and the
best.
Two-Face. Oh
exactly.
my God, so good.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, those were my wall books, and I think we should lead right up into our top picks at this point. Let's start with our favorite cover. Let's start with you, Mason. Out of all the covers you've seen this week, was there one that you thought was the best off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I honestly have to say, just because of the cover style and because of the actual palette that was used, I really like the Supergirl cover.
The Art Germ?
Yeah, I really do.
Art Germ continues to kill it.
It's really, I think there's a certain softness to all of the colors. No matter how bright that red is or how golden the hair is in the cover, there's a certain softness to everything.
He gives a texture to it, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Good point.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling you'd actually pick Supergirl, to be honest. Like, you seem like you'd be an Art Germ fan. I ain't even gonna lie. What about you? You got a favorite cover?
I love that Art Germ one, but I have to give it to Fantastic Four this week. I love that Doctor Doom aquatic green cover. Man.
No, I will say that the palette choice there is freaking incredible for Doom.
No, it really is. And
how about you, Ryan?
Oh shit, man.
It gets harder every week.
Well, it's not like I knew this off the top of my head. I've been stalling to try to figure mine out. Might actually probably be Ben Oliver's Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah, right. I figured that. That's kind of right up your alley. That's your style.
Yep. It's a little bit more dark and just it's I don't even say gritty. It's just it is overall darker in actual colors.
It's got those pointed ear styles I know you love.
Oh, yeah, like I said, he's been my favorite new character design, and since I've been back in comics, so I've always got a soft spot, and I take that back. I've always got a hard spot for Batman. But yeah, no, his covers usually do me in. I know. I see what you're doing there. Let's talk about interiors. Favorite interiors.
I have to give it to Jorge Corona this week.
Yeah.
Middle West, it just continues to get better and better, and I think they're really finding their voice on this one. That the colors, I like the art style a lot.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, that's.
It was just stand out this week, better than ever.
It's a great choice. I actually have to go with Aaron Cooder on Fantastic Four for my interiors.
Okay, yeah.
Fair
enough.
That and Marte Garcia doing the colors. The when you see Doom and Galactus, like I always love the way purple and green clash.
Oh yeah.
So when Doom and Galactus
opposite ends of the color wheel
spectrum, yeah. I love it. That definitely gets mine. I know you didn't necessarily read Mason, but out of any of the stuff.
Honestly, out of the stuff I saw, I'd have to say really Scooby-Doo Apocalypse.
Nice.
Because you have this nice blending of solid lines with modern comic book style. Like you have that very classic Hanna-Barbera defined lines with also very nice comic book shading and color transitions from, you got the nice, let's go from a black into a shift into an orange as we wrap around this character's collar or whatever. It just, the nice blend of old style and new really caught my eye.
Good choice.
Yeah, that's good stuff for sure, and especially for it being like a first time pickup for me. I was like, hey, this is unique. I like this. Greg Leaf does a good job and showing off, like the wispy lines and not over exaggerated bold black outlines by any means. Like yeah, it's cool style. I dig it. It reminds me of my first time seeing what's his name, Freddie Williams Jr. His art, like it was just like unique to the point I was like, fuck, I want to like look at this a lot longer than I should normally. And yeah, no, so it's a great choice for sure, man. What about overall story? You got a favorite story this week?
Favorite overall story? It's harder. It's so hard every week.
It's hard, buddy.
I think just because of how zany and weird it is, I really like Detective Comics this week a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that issue 1000. I finally take the leap and jump in. I'm not doing it beforehand, though.
No, fair enough.
I'm gonna leave it up to you from now on, though.
I'm enjoying the dip into it beforehand.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to go with the Batman Who Laughs. I really find that whole concept very interesting, that Batman is struggling to keep the Joker alive while he's also struggling to maintain his own sanity.
It's beautiful.
I think it's fucking incredible.
I think it's Scott Snyder's redemption issue, because I had mentioned how I was like, I think he might be kind of sliding up and losing it a little bit.
Yeah, you had almost talked a little shit.
Well, it reminds me a lot of the Frank Miller goes off the deep end era, almost,
Yeah, and this is, it's a very direct story. It's easy to follow, and like I said, you haven't been reading up until now. You haven't read or anything like that, and the fact that you enjoyed it to that manner tells me this is just good writing. Personally, I gotta go with the Fantastic Four. I talk shit. I did blatantly talk shit in my own subtle way.
About Dan Slott.
Blatantly, subtly about Dan Slott and how I think he should have been putting more effort into his main titles of Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Fantastic Four. And I feel like he had been putting too much effort into the Spider-Geddon event after he had just left Spider-Man. So I was like, why are you doing this? Well, it turns out it's just been a great lead up. I will say that he hasn't necessarily redeemed himself with Tony Stark yet, but Fantastic Four, he's over-redeemed himself. He didn't just go and do a great classic Fantastic Four story like I want to know about. But he went into just like he went in balls deep, Galactus versus Doom, and turns out
just jumping right into it.
It's Doom and Galactus versus the Fantastic Four is what it turned out to be. So shout out to Dan Slott. I tip my glass to you. Tip. Cheer. I think I said
raise
my glass to you.
The beer works.
It works great. Yeah. So those are our top picks of the week. I think we should move on to what's coming out next week.
Yeah.
From
what
my
are you looking forward to?
It's pretty light. There's a few things I'm looking forward to now that you mention it. So let's talk about it. Hellboy and the BPRD, number 56 or 1956, number 3. I think this is a 5 or 6 part miniseries. So I'm liking. It's pretty much just like the start of Hellboy, like in the beginning of his time at the Bureau.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Aquaman 44, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Robson Rocha, and Daniel Enriquez. I am not reading. Oh, you know what? I did put Aquaman on my pull list. I did, as of last issue I did. So I am reading Aquaman now. So
right on.
There we go. One more. Batman. Oh, definitely reading Batman. Number 63, Tom King and Mikkel Janine. Probably my favorite Batman artist lineup in the Batman titles. There's been some great ones. You got Moore and Mitch Gerard's is legendary, that last issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, goes probably my second favorite issue in all of comics ever. But besides that, the fact that Mikkel Janine's doing this one is still super exciting. Because he's been consistently working with Tom King. I love his covers. This cover's fucking awesome, just like the rest of them. And I'm hoping we get more out of this Bane story. Maybe get some insight on what the fuck's going on with the Penguin. He did? I don't know.
Yeah, where is Batman right now? Last we left off, he had this whole existential crisis with Professor Pig.
It was a dream.
Right, but then before that, we had his father right behind him with an injured Alfred.
There's lots of, like I said, there's lots twisting and turning right now.
Yeah.
We're also, I know there's a 3-part story where Tom King actually, it's going to get even weirder, because I don't know if we're going to get any answers out of this, because I know that the 3 issues after this, Tom King didn't actually write. He had someone else fill in because he was out doing what he says is secret TV meetings.
Oh.
But he'll be right back at like issue 66 or something like that. But in that arc is actually going to be a Flash Batman tie-in, so I'll have to be buying those issues of Flash. And it's going to be 3 issues of Batman and Flash each, so a total of 6 parts, all written by the same writer. So it's not going to be, it's all going to tie in very nicely, I'm assuming. And yeah, so I like I said, I'm not too certain that we're going to get a whole lot of answers out of this next Batman story, but nevertheless, it's Tom King writing it and Mikkel Janine drawing it, so I'm fucking excited. Justice League, number 16, James Tynion IV, Scott Snyder, Jim Chung, along with a few various other ones, so Tynion is teaming up again with Snyder to co-write this one.
Mm-hmm.
So Snyder's been having some help lately, and I've listened to some interviews, and it's kind of like the mentor, or what's the not mentor, the one being mentored. What's the word for that? You know words.
Student.
There you go.
pupil.
Those words. Snyder's kind of giving credit to James as kind of like coming up, and because he's more of the team guy, and Snyder's not necessarily familiar with writing teams. So, I found that tidbit kind of cool in a little interview I listened to.
Nice.
I will, I'll go ahead and give a shout out to the podcast I listened to. It was a super powered fan podcast. Fuck, I got it wrong. I'll put a link in the description of the episode. But it was guys, one cool guy. But he got Snyder to tell me some stuff, a whole bunch of spoilers I'm excited about.
Neat.
Definitely gonna keep reading Justice League because of the spoilers that he delivered. And Batman Who Laughs. I got a whole bunch of spoilers out of Batman Who Laughs too, so it's definitely a story that I'm gonna keep reading just because of that. Not that it's been losing me by any means.
Nice.
Anyways, Shazam!
Number 2.
Oh, Billy Batson.
That's right. Jeff Johns and Dale Inglesham. So, in the lost episode number 9 that you didn't get to hear, we talked about Shazam number 1.
Yeah, we talked about so many good things that episode.
Shut the fuck up, Jeff. Yeah, I fucked up, I get it. But we talked about Shazam 1, and what I want you to get out of me mentioning my fuck-upness is the fact that we very much enjoyed it. So it is on my poll list now. So we will be talking about number 2 as well. Teen Titans Go 32. Are you reading Teen Titans Go? I don't think you are. No. But some people are. Amanda Diebert, Jay Torres, and Eric Owen. So yeah, that one could be for the kiddos. I'm not sure. I'm not reading it. Are you reading Teen Titans?
I'm not.
Number 26, Adam Glass and Bernard Chang. So, another book from DC I am not reading. It's feeling like it's gonna be a light week. Lucifer, number 4. I just wanted to pause after Lucifer there for a second. Dan Waters, Max Fiumara, and Sebastian Fiumara. I am reading Lucifer. We decided that we're going to get in on this whole Sandman Dreamscape verse that's going on right now. I picked Lucifer. I read the first 3.
Is this like Gaiman's Sandman? Or
yes.
What?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
He has 4 different runs in the same universe going on right now.
Nice.
Dreaming Lucifer something and something. He's reading Dreaming, I'm reading Lucifer. And like I said, I just recently binged the first 3 of Lucifer. And not knowing what I was getting into, I enjoyed it very much. It's very weird. I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to find talking points, I think, because it's
a lot of really obscure stuff going on. That's how I feel about Dreams, for sure.
Right on. But I am reading it, and you should too. On Dynamite, we have, since it's a light week, we'll mention it. I'm sure there's people reading it, considering they're at issue number 15 now. Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, George R.R. Martin, I know that name. Landry Quinn Walker and Mel Ruby. I have flipped through this on the shelf. It's good. But I don't have time to read it, and I'm 15 issues behind if I did. So, but for those who are, read it. Mars Attacks number 4. Kyle starts. Chris Schweizer. More Dynamite. Mark Clark. Turok. Number 1. Turok's back, bitches. Dynamite again. Mark Mars and Roberto Castro.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome indeed. I think I'm going to get this just for nostalgia's sake. Because I value all of my dollar bin issues of Turok number 1 very much so.
Heck yeah.
It's a dollar bin number 1. I don't know why, but I enjoys it.
I mean, speaking of video game comics, I definitely want to get into the Castlevania comics that have been released in the more recent years.
Yes, I think last week actually we got a Castlevania. IDW Publishing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 19. Tom Waltz, Kevin Eastman, Dave Watcher. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a half shell. I said that all wrong. I'm so sorry. Hashtag not sorry. I am forever... Yeah, I saw you cringe. I am forever regretting not jumping on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like I wanted to, but it's coming. Moving along to Image Comics. There's a few. There's a lot more indies this week than there was last week. That's Definitely. For sure. Or next week than there was this week, depending on how you measure time. Time is a construct. Die, 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 number 7, Robert Kirkman, Scott Gimple, Chris Berman, Nathan Fairbarn. I'm not reading Die, Die, Die. I hear it's great. Well, I hear mixed reviews. But it's Robert Kirkman, so he has his following, on account of Walking Dead and all. Mm-hmm. Hardcore number 2, I am reading Hardcore. I was very intrigued with the first issue. It's a cool concept on account of, body possessing, I guess. I kind of explained it, but yeah, they take out the snipers and they shoot them and they get control of the body for 48 hours, and in that time, if the body dies before you deconnect,
the user dies.
You well, not necessarily dies, but get irreparable brain damage. And yeah, so you can continue on, but it's not in a favorable manner.
One that I am looking forward to this week is a number 1. It's Oliver by Gary Whitta and Derek Robertson. If you know anything about Gary Whitta, you should be a fan. He's the one who wrote Rogue One for Star Wars. He's also, I believe, the only man, or maybe the first man, to write for comic, TV, and movie for Star Wars.
Oh, son of a bitch. What do you know?
And he does have another comic for Star Wars out there that I really enjoyed.
Well, what's the synopsis on Oliver? Give it a...
We've got award-winning screenwriter Gary Whitta, Rogue One and Star Wars Story, and Book of Eli.
Ooh, I like that.
He teams with celebrated artist Derek Robertson, who is from Transmetropolitan and Happy, and The Boys, for a take on a literally classic with a futuristic twist. Oliver reimagines Charles Dickens' most famous orphan, Oliver Twist, as a post-apocalyptic superhero fighting to liberate a war-ravaged England while searching for the truth about his own mysterious origins.
And that's why we read synopses on number 1s that I am oblivious to, because I will be paying full price for this because I didn't pre-order it, but I am getting it now, and now I have a reason to show up. As the doors open again, thanks. No, don't fucking...
You're welcome.
But an image number 1 is never anything to scoff at, especially when you have the artist from Transmetropolitan, which is maybe my favorite graphic novel.
I'm just a huge fan of Gary Whitta, so I'm really looking forward to this one.
So, bitch. Well, I'm glad you mentioned it.
We've also got another series I have been absolutely loving. We're moving into Marvel. We have Avengers number 13.
Yes, Jason Aaron, Andrea Sorrentino. We're getting more lead-ins to the War of the Realms. Blade introduced himself at the end of the last issue, so hopefully we get some more Blade.
Got a lot more vampires showing up.
Yes. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 2, Tom Taylor and Juan Cabal. I surprisingly loved the second one, or the first one. Didn't think it was, like I said, I think I want to re-quote myself, and so I didn't think it was the Spider-Man we needed, but it's the Spider-Man we deserve, and it's fucking awesome.
You convinced me to dive into this one.
Yes. My most anticipated book of the week, I'm going to go ahead and just, say that now.
Yeah.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy, Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw. We got a number 1 here. Super excited for this new team. The only original members are Quill and Groot. And we have
more Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, we get Cosmic Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer.
Fuck yeah.
Moondragon, which is Drax's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just an awesome fucking team. Super excited. And it's Donny Cates writing, so there's always something to be excited about when his name is top billing. Immortal Hulk, number 12, Al Ewing, Joe Bennett. We both reading this. We both liking this.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Obviously going to be talking about this. We're going to wrap up The Man Without Fear, number 4. We're going to go ahead and do a rundown of the 4 parts.
Yeah.
Give us our take. Judd McKay, Danilo Bayroth, doing that one. So, yeah, more Daredevil before he come back. Superior Spider-Man, number 2, Christos Gage, Mark Hawthorne. I still am subscribed to this in the meantime. It's given me no reason to drop it.
Uncanny X-Men Annual number 1, Ed Bryson and Carlos Gomez.
Yes, so we're getting... This is the one where Cyclops comes back, and I can promise you that. Very excited for this.
That variant cover kind of gives it away.
Well, we've seen some Cyclops in some other covers now. Blossom 666, Cullen Bunn, Lauren Braga, and Matt Herms. This is, I believe, an Archie Comics story. To number 1, my comic book guy seems to have this as his hype book of the week. So I'm going to pick it up just because I like his taste in comics. So
look forward to hearing about it.
Well, I don't know if we'll hear about it or not, but I'm going to check it out. I don't think there's anything else that I am reading personally, but there's lots of other good stuff.
We've gone on for almost 2.5 hours. I think we've gone on long enough.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, I can't leave out some Valiant. Exo's back, number 23. Mark Kent and Thomas Goriello, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Right on. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Again, find us on Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, all the places. You know the rigmarole. Thank you very much for coming along the ride with us.
Yep. Not to mention YouTube. Doing the YouTube thing now. Shout out to our beer, not sponsor, but the one that makes this interesting. Oscar Blues and their Mama's Little Yellow Pills.
And Mason, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for being a part of our show. We've enjoyed your company.
Well, I enjoyed being here.
And an ongoing part of the show on account of you make the music happen in the beginning and the end.
Yeah,
and all
so
that good stuff,
cheers to Mason.
Yeah, here's to you guys. I don't think there's lots to be excited for next week. Like I said, mine would be Guardians of the Galaxy. I think you can agree with that. I always like to say most anticipated.
Yeah. I mean, Guardians I'm really looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to Oliver.
All right. So, y'all motherfuckers have a great week and read responsibly.
Geek responsibly, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.